Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. All members of council are present and express the land acknowledgement. Municipality of Dysart acknowledges that we are on the traditional territory known as the Williams Treaty First Nation, which includes Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog Island, Rama, Boswell, and Georgina First Nations. And that we thank these nations for their care and stewardship as they pass through our lands. Okay, we have a resolution then to adopt the agenda.
Be resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of the Council of Municipality of Dysart et al. Held on October 28, 2025 be approved as presented.
Mover and seconder. Gary and Tammy, all in favor? Carrie, thank you. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Who has one? Carm has one. Okay. And Pat has one. Okay. Okay. A resolution to adopt the
Did you guys read the item number? You just have to say where your declaration of interest is and the reason you're declaring. I didn't hear that on my end, but I don't know if your mics were off.
Okay, Carm.
Sorry, it's closed session item 3A. My company does work in the area being discussed.
Okay.
I'm the same.
Same. Okay, perfect. Thanks, guys.
Okay, we're good now?
Yeah, we're good now.
Okay. Resolution to adopt the minutes.
Be it resolved that council approves the following minutes as circulated: regular council September 23rd, public meeting September 23rd, and special meeting of council October 7th.
Mover and seconder. Nancy and Pat, all in favor? Gary, thank you. Okay, resolution to go into the public meeting.
Be it resolved that council hereby adjourns the regular meeting of council at 9:02 a.m. to proceed into a public meeting to consider zoning bylaw amendment files D14-ZB-2025-15, which is lands of 50293, 636, D14-ZB 2025-16, lands of Hutchings, and D14-ZB 2025-17, lands of Halberton Lumber and Enterprise.
Okay. Have a mover and seconder there. Carm and Nancy, all in favor? Carrie, thank you. Okay, we'll go into public meeting. Good morning and welcome. The public meeting for October 28, 2025 will now commence to order. A notice to those in attendance that this meeting will be live streamed to YouTube and recorded. Please note that the recording will be linked to the municipal website. The purpose of the public meeting is to present planning application in a planning forum as required by the Planning Act. This is a public meeting to consider 3 proposed zoning amendments for the Dysart et al. Zoning Bylaw 2005-120. It is council's responsibility to consider all the information received to date regarding the applications and to hear and consider any views you may have about these applications. Every person present or registered will have the opportunity to ask questions about the proposals and voice their opinion regarding the same. Please state your name and your relation to the application prior to speaking, and each person will have up to 5 minutes to provide comments or questions. Please direct all your questions and comments to the chair. Please restrict your comments to planning matters only. And after this public meeting is over, council will make a recommendation as to whether or not the proposed zoning amendment should be passed. Council's recommendations will then be considered along the regular meeting of council. Once council has made a decision on the proposed amendment, notice will be circulated as per the Planning Act. All those persons who have given the municipality written notice that they would like to receive notice of the decision will receive a copy of the decision. You must make this request in writing to the municipality. If a person or public body who would otherwise have the ability to appeal the decision of the council of the municipality to the Land Tribunal Trust, but the person or public body does not make an oral submission at a public meeting or make written submission to the municipality of Dysart in respect to the proposed amendment to the zoning bylaw before the municipality of Dysart has given or refuses to give approval of the amendment to the zoning bylaw. A person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the municipality of Dysart to the Ontario Land Tribunal, and the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal unless, in the opinion of the board, there are reasonable grounds to do so. So we'll now commence the public meeting as per the agenda, and applications for file number D14ZB 2025-15 lands of 5029636 Incorporated.
All
Chris,
right, thank you, and good morning, everyone. At the council meeting on February 25th, 2025, council approved the request to waive site plan control for the subject lands. At that time, it was noted that the applicant had constructed several structures without permits that do not conform with the official plan or the zoning bylaw requirements within respect to the permitted use, setbacks, and built form. The structures included shipping containers for the use of storage building, a dome, and a business office. There also appears to be encroachments of the structures that include the concrete landscape storage, a woodshed and fence located within the front yard setback, and also appears to encroach onto the counties of Haliburton's right-of-way. Due to the compliance issues, the applicant was unable to obtain building permits for the development. The applicant has now submitted the application to amend the zoning bylaw amendment to address the compliance issues. Shipping containers used for the construction of buildings is not an identified use as being permitted within the municipal policies. The municipal official plan provides clear direction that commercial development, especially within the settlement area, is to contribute to economic sustainability, vitality, and an attractive built environment. Specifically, policies under the hamlet areas and commercial development sections that emphasize and encourage well-designed, compatible, and visually appealing development, excuse me, that enhances the character of the community and ensures that development within the settlement area contributes positively to the visual quality and sense of place of the municipality. The proposal is not considered to represent good community planning. The development within the hamlet area, particularly along the corridor such as Kinesis Lake Road in the West Guilford settlement area, shall reflect the policies of the Dysart official plan, which emphasize visually attractive, sustainable, and potentially appropriate design. New development should demonstrate consideration for building location, massing, and overall site design, as well as the exterior character, scale, and appearance of buildings and structures. These design elements are essential to maintaining the visual quality, hamlet character, and long-term sustainability of the community. Public comments. The notice was posted in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act, and in addition, a copy was posted or published in the local newspaper. Comments received from the County of Haliburton are outlined as follows. The County of Haliburton has concerns related to the structures that are within the county's road setback and appear to encroach onto the county's right-of-way. Given these concerns, the county recommends that the proposed zoning bylaw amendment should either be deferred pending resolution of the issues outlined in the report, or the zoning bylaw amendment be passed subject to a holding provision that conditions within the requirements being confirmation from the County of Haliburton Public Works Department that 2 commercial entrances have been addressed to the Public Works Director's satisfaction, confirmation that all components of development on the property are entirely located on the subject lands rather than encroaching onto the County of Haliburton's right-of-way. And where encroachments are confirmed to exist, they have been addressed to the satisfaction of the County of Haliburton, whether this is through the removal, relocation, or license of occupation. The recommendation, the application was reviewed in the context of the provincial planning statement, the county official plan, municipal official plan, and is recommended that council deny the application. And I believe the consultant is in attendance to speak to the application and address any questions that council may have.
Okay. Is the applicant or the agent going to prepared to speak? Yeah, sure. You can come right up here. You can come right up here, Paul. It's just. Oh.
Initially, I came just to answer questions because I'm sure there might be some, but as this process evolved, there are some things I'd like to say. There is an extensive list of exceptions to the zone that are being imposed here, but I think it's important to realize that some of them aren't all that serious. I mean, the wood storage is a wagon, if I recall, with wood on it. It's a movable wagon. And now we got a setback from the street for that. The storage bins, and they don't encroach onto the township property. They are on the subject property, but they, again, don't conform with the setbacks from the street. But they're hardly structures. All they are is little concrete walls that separate the aggregate so that they don't mix. And it's exactly the same as Barb Hammond's set up in Fort Irwin. Exactly the same thing. I don't know if it's hers are legal or not, but that's what we have here. So I don't see that they're major exceptions. Yes, they have to be addressed, but they're not major because the list looks long, but it isn't that long. The office building is in the street setback a little bit, but it's actually movable too, but I can't really see anything wrong with where it is. The other thing that I'd like to address is the county comments. When the applicant purchased the property, the entrances were in place. She was not aware, to my knowledge, that there never were entrance permits. Those entrances have been there for 20 years. So why all of a sudden they're an issue? Yes, they have to be addressed, but they've been there for a long time. So it's not her fault that the entrances are not, there was not a permit for the entrances. And yes, she has to resolve it. The other thing is the fence. As long as I can remember, there was a fence there. It was an old rundown fence. The owner replaced the fence in the same spot. And probably in the county's defense, they probably didn't know that there was an encroachment until I did the site plan. So the fence does encroach onto the county lands. So last week, and I applied for this application in August. I didn't find out until last week that the county even had any concerns. Because had we known that there was no entrance permit, had we known that the fence was an issue, this could have been dealt with in September and be all done. But I found out just last week. So I immediately responded in writing. I committed the owner to do two things. Number one, immediately make application for entrance permits, and farther, and this is all in writing, once we make the application, if changes were required, we would make them. So I said we'd do that. The second thing is the fence. We understand that it needs to be resolved. In writing, we have not the county, because I'm not dealing with the county. I'm dealing with your planning department. I've never been asked to deal with the county. We've said that we will remove the fence if you want. We would like to leave it there, and we understand that probably we'll need a license of occupation to do so. But we've agreed in writing to do all this. So it sounds on the surface like there's a lot of things that the applicant has done here that she shouldn't have done, but those things were out of her control. So now the county is saying either defer or put holding provisions in. We don't want to defer. We understand these things have to be resolved. We've already said we will resolve them. If that's not good enough, then we'll have to accept the holding provisions. One of the problems here is that the owner would like to put a dome roof on the storage container storage unit. And it would be nice to do it before it snows. Now, if there's holding provisions, I don't know if this can be done or not, but we understand that these things have to be resolved. I have made the commitment on her behalf that we will resolve them, but if the holding provisions are the way to go about it, then we'll accept that. So beyond that, I'm here to answer questions if there are any.
Doesn't sound like it's terribly serious, and most can be
No,
resolved right away.
I mean, yes, there are exceptions that are required, but they're not major things in my opinion.
And Marie, she's done a nice job there. She's cleaned up. Nothing's
Yeah,
ever
I
been
know.
there forever. And she's got a
Yeah.
nice, everything's nice and clean and people are using it and it's good for the community. We got to work with her because it's definitely a positive for West Guilford.
Yeah. The thing that I keep hearing is the storage containers are the big issue here.
Well, yeah, when I made the application, that was my number one request, that storage containers be allowed, because they're not apparently allowed in a
And-
highway commercial zone. The other deficiencies, I didn't really call the wood trailer a structure. I didn't really call the storage bin structures, so I didn't ask for that. But rightly so, I suppose, if that's a minor issue, it should be addressed if we're going to address everything. But the main objective when I made this application was to allow for storage containers on that site.
Okay.
And everybody can see what they look like because they're already there.
Everything that I've seen there is portable anyway, including the box. So it's not permanent on that note. Sorry. Anyway, I'm in agreement. We're working with her. Place looks great. It's business for the community and everything of the sort. So let's clear the cobwebs and get going. Getting it sorted out.
Well,
Yeah, is there any way that we would accept some type of a roof built on the containers?
like the same thing as Patient News did down in
Yeah,
the third
or-
container.
And paint them maybe by color. It's more acceptable, I don't know.
Well, it's my understanding that this dome that's going to go between the containers has to be engineered. And it has? Okay. But I think it's a standard type zone, dome. I mean, if somebody wants to look into it, we know what it's gonna look like.
So
Barry?
it sounds like council is agreeable to passing this, which is good. The thing that I'd like to point out is that the county has recommended holding provisions. They're concerned that parts of that there's encroachments on county land, essentially. So this is something that council needs to be very aware of when they're they can certainly pass a zoning bylaw with withholding provisions, but I would caution you on passing a zoning bylaw when there's potentially, the county has identified that there's encroachments on their land.
So they don't accept my site plan. Is that what they're saying?
I'm not sure. I haven't been in direct contact with them, but Chris or Jeff, do you want to?
No, so yeah, I can address that. We did provide the site plan to the county, and they did outline those comments and concerns. So if there are the comments and concerns, it would be recommended to speak directly with the county to address any of those comments and concerns that they had based on the site plan that was provided to them.
And that's the fence we're talking about, right?
Well, we know the fence is encroaching. Nothing else is encroaching. So what are they talking about? If they question my site plan as a layperson, they better come and see me and tell me my site plan's wrong. There's nothing wrong with my site plan. The fence encroaches. There's no other encroachments. There might be encroachments into the street setback, but not encroachments beyond the
Yeah.
limits of her property. I don't know where that's coming from.
So
I-
it may just be a
I'm-
clarification. I'll just address that. So it may just be a clarification with the county to clarify that with them. Might just be as
They're not
simple as
here.
that.
How are we going to clarify it right now? They're not here. And I don't want to defer this. It offends me that they're questioning my site plan. They don't have a surveyor on staff. And if they want to question my site plan, they better contact me and tell me it's wrong.
Can we move forward this withholding provisions as soon as that part is sorted out?
That
really?
was the thought, and they're not going to be here today to speak to it, but I just as the local council has to be careful that they're not approving zoning where there's a possible. Well, it might be that the fence needs to be removed. I know. No staff. No one here is saying it's anyone's fault. I understand that she walked into a few issues there, but now that this process is rolling, they're going to want it cleaned up. So.
Well, we recognize that. We know the fence encroached. Nobody knew it encroached till I did the site plan.
Yeah.
We know it encroaches, and we have already offered in writing to go to the county and ask to be allowed to leave it there, which would probably require license of occupation. I've already said in writing, if they want us to remove it, we'll remove it.
Well, you can't be any clearer than that.
No, that's the only encroachment. There's the fence, and they're generalizing about encroachments. Yes, there's an encroachment. It's a fence. There's no other encroachments.
I think we should pass it with the holding conditions and let, see if we can sort out.
How long do they take?
I'm sorry? Well,
Carm, can you use your mic if you're,
I think-
we might be able to answer. What were you
Sorry,
saying?
how long does it take for if we pass it today with a holding provision, how quick can they get the holding provision removed?
It sounds like Paul's already initiated getting the commercial entrances, and he's already initiated discussing the encroachments with the county. So hopefully they would be quick, but it would be the county. It would be on their heads to move it along.
County will have to release those.
So if they release them and send a letter to us, then we don't need to.
Exactly. That's how it would work.
Can we
Come
move
back here.
forward?
Yeah.
Okay,
Right, just, so if we change the zoning bylaw, how much of this stuff are we cleaning up? They will clean it all up in the one shot here?
You're cleaning it up with the understanding that until the holding provisions are released, so we have to deal with the entrance, we have to deal with the fence.
Yeah.
To the satisfaction of the county. Then the county will confirm to your planning department that we've done those things, and then you can release the holding conditions, and all the other things are already resolved in zoning
Okay.
bylaw.
Well, that's good then. Like I lived across it from that for 22 years. So what she's done is
better
great.
than what was
It's
there,
great.
for sure.
And I would really be sad to see if they made her take the fence down because it looked 50 times better than anything has looked there before. So anyway, I'm just making sure that this time around that we're getting everything cleaned up, shot here, other than the issues with the county, and I'm hoping.
Who
that-
knew it was going to be this complicated?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I mean, I think she's been here. This has been going on for a year and a half or 2 years, so it's time to get it done.
So this will allow her to put the dome on then and.
Well, not until the holding
No,
provisions are released.
so that, the sooner that's done, the better. Okay,
I would have made the application for the entrance permit and asked for the license or license of occupation, but I didn't know till last week.
well, that's-
This is
that's
all
not-
news
that's
to
not
me.
on you, that's
No.
on them, yeah.
Yeah, we'd had this all resolved had we known these were issues a month ago.
Okay, so I think we need to move forward here now.
So I have a resolution here to pass with holding provisions. I'll read it. Be it resolved that the report for file number D14-ZB-2025-15, lands of 5029636 Ontario Incorporated, which consists of Part Lot 6, Concession 4, Part 9, Plan 19R-5229, in the Geographic Township of Guilford, Municipality of Dysart et al. Be received for information. And that council directs that a bylaw be brought forward for consideration during its October 28, 2025 regular meeting, and that council recommends that the bylaw be approved, as amended, subject to the following holding provisions. 1, confirmation from the County of Haliburton Public Works Department that the 2 commercial entrances have been addressed to the Public Work Director's satisfaction. 2, confirmation that all components of the development on the property are located within the subject lands rather than encroaching onto the County of Haliburton right-of-way. And 3, where encroachments are confirmed to exist, they have been addressed to the satisfaction of the County of Haliburton, whether this be through the removal, relocation, or a license of occupation.
Well, the number 2 and number 3 are the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the fence, because there are no other encroachments, and I'm not an Ontario land surveyor anymore. I'm retired. So I don't know if they'll accept my certification that there are no other encroachments or not. If not, then we'll have to get a surveyor. But there are no encroachments other than fence. And that's pretty easy to see when you look at my site plan. So I don't know
if you
why
get a
they,
license of occupation and it's done.
that's right. And if they won't give it, she'll have to move it.
Yeah.
Oh, you've offered that already, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a resolution then?
Yep.
Seconder? Walt and Pat, all in favor? Carrie. Okay, we'll hopefully get this done.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. If no further questions, we'll move on to the next file.
Okay, thank you, everyone. The next file is to be on the agenda, which is for D14 ZB 2025-016 of Hutchings. The proposed zoning amendment is a condition of a previous consent, which is H008-25, which received provisional approval on August 14th, 2025. And this is just to propose the amendment that would change the zoning of the subject property from rural type 1 and environmental protection to rural type 1 exception zone and rural residential exception zone and environmental protection in order to permit the permanent rural residential use on the proposed severed lot, implement the required front lot line setback for rural residential, recognize the reduced lot frontage for the retained lot, which will be the rural designation lot, and further delineate the environmental protection boundary and buffers as defined by the supporting environmental impact study on the property. Notice was posted in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act and published in the local newspaper. To date, the only comments that were received is the county has no comment or any concerns, and that they just require notice of decision. The application is consistent with the PPS, conforms to the official plan, is appropriate and represents good planning, and it is recommended that council approve the zoning amendment.
Okay, is anyone here to speak to that particular file?
I don't believe there is.
There is. Okay. Is there any questions from council? So everybody knows what this is being asked to be approved. Resolution then, Melanie?
Be it resolved that the report for file number D14-ZB-2025-16, Hutchings, which consists of part lot 19, concession 5 in the geographic township of Dysart, municipality of Dysart et al., be received for information. And that council directs that a bylaw be brought forward for consideration during its October 28, 2025 regular meeting, and that council recommends that the bylaw be approved.
Mover and seconder, Nancy and Barry, all in favor? Gary, thank you. Okay, next application.
Next one is to see on the agenda, and this is for D14 ZB 2025-017, Halliburton Lumber and Enterprises. The owner is seeking approval for a temporary use bylaw under Section 39 of the Planning Act to permit the interim use on the subject property as a day nursery for a period up to 5 years. However, Section 39-2 of the Planning Act establishes that temporary use bylaws may only be authorized for a maximum of 3 years from the date of passing. Accordingly, the proposed bylaw will be limited to a 3-year term. Upon expiry, the applicant may request extensions of no more than 3-year period for each iteration, during which the temporary use may continue if approved. The day nursery will house approximately 73 children and 15 staff. The proposed temporary day nursery aligns with the Dysart's official plan and strategic plan by contributing to the vision of a vibrant and resilient community that offers great services and support, a high quality of life for all residents. By providing accessible childcare, the day nursery directly supports the strategic priority of enhancing community well-being and helps build more inclusive and supportive environment for young families. Notice was posted in accordance with the Planning Act and published in the local newspaper. To date, the following comments have been received. County of Halliburton, the county advises that a traffic brief is required to address proposed traffic volumes, movement, and impacts on flow of traffic on County Road 21. Traffic flow on the property to be compliant and designed in accordance with the Child Care and Early Years Act. Recommendation is the application is consistent with the provincial planning statement, conforms to the Dysart official plan, is appropriate and represents good planning. It is recommended that council approve the temporary bylaw. That will be subject to the holding provision to allow the applicant time to address the outstanding items as outlined in the bylaw. And that concludes the presentation.
Anyone here to speak to that? No. Jennifer, yeah. Sure, you can come up.
Morning. My name is Jennifer Sid. I'm the agent on this application. I just had a question about the holding provision. First of all, the site plan agreement, that's fine. I have that ready to submit. And then for the traffic briefing, I've spoken with the director at the County of Halliburton Siteworks, Sylvan, and provided what he has asked for regarding the traffic brief. It's just a matter of his busy schedule at the moment and being able to reply to Chris and myself saying that he is satisfied with what I have provided. And then for the water supply, there is currently the 3 filtration UV system, as well as far as the Ontario daycare licensing process. I will be having the Ministry of Environment approval requirement imposed on me as well. So when I have that approval come, I will provide that to your office as well. And then, so my question regarding the holding provision is that can we put that on the final building inspection rather than the ability to open a building permit so that we can provide the childcare services in a timely manner so that we can apply now for a building permit, and then the holding provisions would be imposed on the final building inspection.
That I can't answer off the top of my head.
So yeah, so you can apply for a building permit at any time. That can run concurrently with everything else. And then while you're trying to satisfy these conditions, you can have those running concurrently. So at the time that once you've satisfied the conditions and the holding provisions are released, you're already at that stage with the building department for that final building permit as well. So you can run these concurrently. You don't have to wait for the holding provisions to be released prior to then going and applying for your building permit. I hope that helps.
Would the building permit be able to be approved to start work prior to if there was one holding provision left, for example?
There may be aspects you may have to talk to the building department. However, typically they will not release, I believe they would not release a permit until you've satisfied site plan control and the holding provisions are released. So you can work concurrently up to that stage. But
Sorry,
that might be a
Chris, I
question.
just
Yeah.
wanted to say, Carl's here. Do you want us to promote, just to reassure
Sure.
you, Jennifer? Like our CBO is, I hope he's at his desk, but he's in the meeting. So if we can try to bring him up, and then just to reassure you that you can keep moving, he is here. We'll just have to wait for him to be promoted. There he is. Sorry, Carl, were you listening to that?
I was, yeah. So
Okay,
just
perfect.
just to confirm, there'd be 2 permits that are required for this. One would be a change of use permit, which would come after the zoning approval, but you can always apply for the building permit to do the renovations to complete the work. But you take the risk that maybe there's something that goes off track with the planning approval that you don't get it. Whereas you're renovating a building that might not get the ultimate approval. So just keep that in mind when you decide what you want to do with those. But you can always apply for your permit to start doing the renovations at any time.
And then my last question is probably for Chris. On page 2 and page 10 of your report, it talks about the traffic brief, and in page 2, it mentions to have the traffic brief completed by an engineer. From my 2 conversations with Sylvan, he did not request that. I'm just wondering if you've heard something different.
When you talked traffic brief, and that was what was directed to us by the county, that's typically done by an engineer as per our policies. However, if they request or require something less than that, then again, this is a county condition. Therefore, it would be up to the county to verify whether they are satisfied with it not being done or completed by an engineer, and just by Sil signing off on that. And then we'll take that as a confirmation. It's not something that we're requesting, it's something that the county is. So if they're satisfied with it, then they could provide that in writing, and that'll satisfy that condition.
And Sil has indicated to me that that's what he's gonna do, so.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah,
Thank you.
unfortunately, I haven't got that dialogue back yet, so I can't confirm that. But if that's been the discussion, then yeah, all we require is from Sil to provide that confirmation, and then that will take care of that condition.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you, everybody, for your help.
No problem.
Certainly needed. There's 140 spaces needed in the county. That's awesome. Yep. Okay, so
Want me to read the resolution, Murray?
please,
Be it resolved that the report for the lands of Halliburton Lumber and Enterprise, 1587256 Ontario Incorporated, which consists of part lots 12 and 13, concession 8 in the geographic township of Dysart, municipality of Dysart et al., be received for information. That council directs that a bylaw be brought forward for consideration of a temporary zoning bylaw during its October 28, 2025 regular meeting, and that council recommends that the bylaw be approved.
mover and seconder. Barry and Walt, all in favor? Carrie, thank you. Okay, resolution to go back into the regular meeting.
Be it resolved that council hereby adjourns the public meeting at 9:36 a.m. and reconvenes the regular meeting of council.
Okay, mover and seconder. And Barry, all in favor? Carrie, thank you. Delegations, Pat Moffett and Lori Jones. Good.
Yeah, see, I can't read that. We'll stand here, we're used to sitting down, so, yeah.
Go ahead.
We'll share the mic.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for allowing us to present to council today. So my name is Pat Moffett. I'm the current president of the board for the Rails End Gallery and Art Center. Also joining me today is Lori Jones, the executive director of the Rails End Gallery and Art Center. Thank you for the opportunity to present a proposal to build a main entrance, addition, and accessible ramp at 23 York Street, also known as the Rails End Gallery. This project proposes an alternative solution to replacing the existing 120 feet of deck and 25 stairs currently used to enter the Rails End Gallery. Also, this project will resolve important public safety concerns while enhancing public enjoyment and awareness of Dysart Community Gallery. Our request consists of 3 components. The first 2 are required inputs for an Ontario Trillium Foundation capital grant application of $200,000 that we would like to submit in March 2026. Firstly, we need to extend our lease agreement by at least 5 years. Our current lease expires on August 31, 2026. Without a lease with at least a 5-year duration, our grant application would be denied. Also, due to the grant application deadline, this needs to be completed by February 1, 2026. Secondly, a letter of support from Dysart Council is also needed for us to apply for the grant. Without this letter of support, our grant application would be denied by the Ontario Trillium Foundation. Council support is also needed to continue our preliminary work, for example, architectural and engineering drawings, RFPs, and a budget. Thirdly, we request council's approval to proceed with planning and building a new entrance. contingent on an Ontario Trillium grant approval. We would like to emphasize that the new entrance will not affect the historical and architectural building features that this building is known for. I would like to summarize the benefits of this solution. Reduced pooling of water and ice at the York Street sidewalk edge. Eliminate issues related to falling ice as well as ice and snow buildup at our Parkside entrance. Provide a new ramp that has no trip hazards or gaps to catch wheels and is shorter. Provide shelter from rain and wind from the prevailing winds and storms. Provide space for a historical panel in the new entrance. From a maintenance standpoint, it will reduce some of the existing expenses such as heating, snow removal, and cleaning. Also, routine maintenance can continue on the existing deck until the new entrance is completed. And finally, I want to summarize the supporting material that has been submitted as part of the proposal. First, due to the size of the building condition report completed by Cambium Engineering in June 2025, it was submitted as a separate electronic document to council as part of our delegation package.
That's this, which you should have all received. And the page we want to draw your attention to is page 7, which is the schedule for needed repairs to the building. The top 2 are exterior related.
Yep. So next, Appendix A in your handout. These pictures show the back of the building, not the historical and architectural front of the building that faces Head Lake Park. The 2025 photo shows a picture of the York Street side of the building. And finally, Appendix B shows a draft of the proposed York Street view. Thank you for allowing us to present the proposal for a new and improved entrance at 23 York, also known as the Rails End Gallery. And we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Where does it go in relation to the Rails End sign? Where does the entrance go?
If you, let me see, it goes where the orange tree is.
You have to take the
Behind
tree down there?
tree. No, the tree remains, it's just on the other side of the tree.
Okay,
The proposed entrance would be 10 by 10 feet, an addition onto the side of the building. So it would not enter into the interior. There, if you look at the plan view, which was done by Ben DiCarlo, Highland Designs, you can see the plan, the overhead view of that. And what we propose is there is a logical opening space in the exterior of the building that goes in right next to the office. There's a large window there. And so we would go in through there, and then the person who came into the building would land essentially at our counter, like in the heart of the gallery, in the middle. Right now, when people come in, they come in from the street, if they're coming from the street, up the ramp. If you could go back to the plan view of the third slide. Just for people who are watching online. The picture, number 3 of our presentation. Page 3.
No.
Not shield, get it. There you go. Okay. So currently people come in, they walk up across the south wall, the short wall, then they turn right, they come in and they come in a door there, which is directly into the gallery shop. The door sometimes often blows open, is often frozen shut. And in the weather, large chunks of ice fall off the roof and large icicles build up. They can also enter through the next door, which is just around the bay window. It is an accessible entrance right now, and there's a lift adjacent to it. That is by far the most dangerous entrance to the gallery. Last year, I weighed the ice that was coming off the roof. The chunks were 35 pounds. They come off all at once or intermittently at random. So that's a problem. The other thing is that that deck is on the schedule of the Cambium report. The deck itself and the exterior finishes of the building are scheduled, on that schedule is the two highest priority replacement things or maintenance issues for the gallery itself. So we actually, as an organization, are not equipped, nor do we have the capacity to deal with that. We also, in our current lease agreement, it is the township that's responsible for the exterior and the glazing. So we look to council to and staff to address these issues as ongoing maintenance projects. However, we have long felt, am I talking too much? Yeah, that an entrance off York Street is a really good thing. It will allow more people to come in. It will make York Street look better. And let's face it, the jewel is the front. And it would be so great if at the time when we're looking at the park plan to include that in the facade of Rails End and its historic nature and tell the story of it in terms of the park plan overall. And I know that we were included in that at the end as an afterthought, but it is a great idea. That's the view, but too bad you can't really get in. So we're,
What's going to happen to all those old decks? Are you going to replace them?
well, they are be at their end of life.
No, so
Yeah.
when they come off, are we putting anything back on or are we not?
I guess that would be up to Dysart
There's
to
no reason to put them
staffing,
back on that I can see.
only for access if it gets integrated into the
Put a
park
narrow
plan.
Walkway, not a.
Perhaps or nothing. I mean,
Nothing.
there's sand underneath. Right now, there's a lot of erosion around that side of the building from runoff. So if you walk by, you can see it at eye level.
But that's an issue that we'll have to.
It's something I think that maybe should be brought forward over time. But this could, I mean, subject to us getting the grant. Now, I just want to mention too, we have not failed to get an Ontario Trillium Foundation grant to do maintenance or repairs on the building or capital items
Today
in
you're
the
asking
past.
for us to extend the lease and write a letter of support for the grant.
Correct.
Okay.
And to indicate.
Yes.
Sorry, I couldn't hear that last point. Was someone else speaking there?
Pat said, and to indicate support that if we are successful in getting the grant this round, that we could proceed.
Yeah, so I've got it. If council likes these building plans as presented, I've got a resolution for that. The resolution would cover that council also provides approval for Rails End to apply for the grant if the funding is made available, because of course they haven't announced it yet, but they usually do around March, I think it is. And then that council would then have to direct staff to return with a bylaw to renew the lease prior to February 1st.
Yeah, Mallory, they usually announce right at the beginning of November with a March
Okay.
deadline. So it's a very short window for application for capital funding. but
Right.
I've talked to them already and it's anticipated that it will happen just like every other year.
So March is the due date to apply?
Yeah.
Okay, that's, okay.
Okay. We have a resolution in?
Yeah, so council's in agreement and I can read it?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Anybody?
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the delegation from Pat Moffat and Lori Jones regarding a proposed main entrance addition and accessible ramp on York Street for the Rails End Gallery. And further that council approves the proposed building alterations as presented. And further that council provides approval for the Rails End Gallery to apply for a $200,000 Ontario Trillium Foundation capital grant in 2026, should the funding be made available. And further that council directs staff to return with a bylaw to renew the Rails End Gallery lease prior to February 1st, 2026.
Mover and seconder. Pat and Tammy, all in favor? Here.
Thank you very
Thank you. Okay, Pamela, you're on.
Okay, it looks like there's a lot of slides, but I'm skipping through a lot of them, so don't be scared. It's going to be quick. So first of all, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Dysart Council, staff, and any audience that are watching online or in the room. I'm here to talk about the success of the project, Caboose Community Bike Hub, and answer the question, why bikes in the caboose? And part 3, look at a plan B for what might happen in the future. Next slide. Thank you. So the Caboose Bike Hub opened with fanfare, a participation of a Dysart council member, the Ontario Trillium Foundation, our member of provincial parliament, and some of our community partners, including Laurie Jones from Rails and Gallery, Irv from the Rotary Bike Share, and a few other folks there, Xavier from Fleming College, and Angelica from County Tourism. In all, 16 people participated in the opening ceremony. Next. So the project was made possible by an Ontario Trillium Foundation grant, a seed grant for a pilot project that was 6 months. And there would have perhaps been a possibility to apply for a follow-up GROW grant for subsequent years, but it's been determined for a variety of reasons that that will not proceed at this point. But should it be an opportunity in future, we already know what we would like to do based on the success and what we've learned from the pilot project. Next slide, please. So the success is measured by the number of visitors we had over the summer, the positive comments in the guest book, which total 60 pages of handwritten comments, and enthusiastic response from the community at large. The Bike Hub gave new purpose to the caboose, which had been sitting empty and becoming pretty much a storage shed. It met all objectives of the Ontario Trillium Foundation grant as we applied for it, and it added new vibrant energy right at the entrance there to Head Lake Park. We're ideally situated in between the new Welcome Center of the municipality and the Rails and Gallery. Next slide. So the project served literally all ages, from 18 months to people in their 80s who are still cycling. Next slide, please. It provided an inviting space for visitors, a complimentary space to the Welcome Center. It's more informal when you go into the Welcome Center. Staff is standing behind a counter. When you come into the caboose, we're all sitting around. In some cases, some of the original furniture. Next slide, please. We partnered with Dysart staff, Andrea Mueller, to provide the first annual Kids Bike Fest in the park. It was wonderful. This is something I envisioned when I came to you with the original ask to apply for this project, and it just came off beautifully. And there was a lot of spin-off effects from that one festival. Next slide, please. We were happy to have participation of an OPP auxiliary member to help the kids to reinforce their concept of bike safety. And we were able to give away free helmets, in part from funds from the Ontario Trillium Foundation and a contribution from Canadian Tire. Next slide, please. The caboose also operated as a resource center for all kinds of things to do with cycling. In this case, on the left, there was expert guidance with a new bicycle that hadn't been set up properly, and our partner was able to provide technical assistance there. We have a bike pump available. These were traveling cyclists who popped in, saw a Bike Hub, said, do you have a bike pump? And the answer was yes. Next slide, please. This was a visiting cycling club called the Cycling Grannies from Sudbury. They were really impressed by the Rotary bike share and were going to introduce that idea when they got back home. Next slide, please. So Tuesdays were the open house days. So if someone wanted to plan to come in, they could be assured that any of the 24 Tuesdays throughout the project, there would be someone on hand inside the caboose from 9 to 5. Thursdays and Sundays were programming days. Saturdays were about kids things, either planned programming or responding to inquiries. And other days, there was a mix of community outreach, working remotely, answering inquiries, or by chance at the caboose. Next slide. While I was doing this project, there was a lot of community outreach to find out what agencies in the community could benefit from the services of the Bike Hub. So I had meetings with, for instance, the Youth Hub, of course, all the bikey things, Real Easy Riders, mountain bikes, or Sam's. The high school, I did a presentation at their open house, and I also did a student orientation this fall for the incoming cohort at Fleming College. Next slide, please. Wider recognition of the Caboose Bike Hub went out through Instagram. The @Caboose Bike Hub was a new identity that received broad following from the wider community of cyclists. We are an official member of Ontario by Bike, which is an Ontario organization. We have an online listing of their directory. We've also been recognized by Velo Canada Bikes, which is a national organization, and through various contacts with the advocacy organization with over 3,000 members in Toronto.
How are we making out for time there?
I don't know. Let's move along.
5 minutes, but go ahead.
Okay. There are some slides that I'm just skipping right through. Next slide, please. So Slow Spokes was our signature programming. If you want me to speed ahead, I won't read that.
Okay.
Just to know that it was our signature program. These are some of the rides we were heading out on. Next slide, please. These are some of the locations we visited. Next slide, please. Next slide. And this is an important one. Can we just go back one, please? Thank you. Okay. So this is a view from inside the caboose. You can see we overlook the Rotary bike share, which, as you'll recall, over the years, it had problems with vandalism. This provides oversight, and Irv told me that since this project has been active, there has been a rise in responsible use of the bike share. We can also just keep an eye on everything that's happening in the park. And I did have conversations with the beat cops that walk through the park about how we could partner on, you know, responsible behavior of the kids that are in the park. By kids, I mean teenagers. Next slide, please. Next. Okay. These are just, okay. So without those are just a couple of things that we would have done if we were going for the GROW grant. Next slide. Since we're not going for the GROW grant, how can the caboose reopen to the public? How can we keep the momentum? And why would we want to have anything to do with bikes anyway in a railway caboose? And the answer to the quiz upside down there, which we'll touch on later, is that there are 1.7 million cyclists in Ontario. Next slide, please. These are the ones I'm going to skip through. Cycle.
You're
He's asked me to rush.
Pushing the limit here.
Oh.
You've done a great job. All right.
Okay. So let's just skip through the next 3 slides. We'll just look at them visually, and I'm happy that they are now on the public record. If anyone wants to have a closer look at them, they're on the agenda package. Next slide. Next slide. That's Ontario by Bike, which we're a member of. That's the little sign hanging up from the roof of the overlook of the caboose there. Next slide. That's some of the types of cycling that are on trend these days. And just to note that the places that we have this available are all within municipality of Dysart. So that would be Sir Sam's, Glebe Park, and Halburn Forest. Next slide, please. Creating a bike-friendly visitor center provides an open invitation to a portion of the 1.7 million Ontario cyclists who may visit or move to Haliburton. Now, a far greater percentage of people ride bikes in other communities. So from our perspective here, this is kind of an invisible market. I connected with them when they came into the caboose. We don't see a lot of them here beyond the Real Easy riders who go around in their Lycra and the mountain bikers that are in either Sir Sam's or Glebe Park. But they are within our community. They're either moving here or they're visiting here. So it is an important constituency group to serve. Next slide, please. So what is the plan for 2026? So far, I have in place a facilitated community partners meeting coming up at HCDC. In order for that to be effective, we need to know that Dysart is interested in committing to making the caboose available on an ongoing basis as a community bike hub. And then we can work with community partners to brainstorm some ideas to perhaps hire summer students, do fundraising, inviting community investment, and pulling together a lot of, I'm sorry, just have a dry mouth here. Pulling together a lot of community opportunities and signing a new collaborative agreement between Fort and Dysart to make this all happen. And that would be an interim basis for 2026, just to keep the momentum going for next year. And then the following year, we could possibly look at Ontario Trillium Foundation or any other major funding source that we identified through this facilitated process. Next slide. So Fort has been responsible for bringing some other projects to life that are related. One was funding from the Active Transportation Fund of Canada. Another one was initiated by Xavier at Fleming College. We've already done part 1 of Haliburton Wayfinding and design research. That's for little signage and mapping to help people get around the village pathways. And part 2 would be undertaken through the college in the fall of 2026. Next slide. I just came back from 4 days as part of the Ontario Community Changemakers program in Toronto. More on that later. Next slide. These are some of the community partners. Next slide. Here's the bikes and caboose dreaming of next summer. So now I would like to entertain questions. Is it possible to go back to the very first slide? Just so we can see those 3 points?
Look.
No,
way
just
over time. Way over.
Interesting.
This is.
Didn't hear that from the
I
other
said
2
5
presentations.
minutes, and you were 20.
Oh, I thought,
It's all right,
Interesting.
but you make your point 2 or 3 times and you lose momentum by repeating and repeating.
okay.
Right? So that's my take on it anyway.
Um,
But anyway, look.
when I applied
you know
for the
what,
delegation,
think
I
this
was
is
told
something a
it
service
was
club might
10 minutes.
be very interested in.
The Service Club is already doing more than it can manage with the Rotary Bike
The
Share.
problem with these grants, so you know, you get the seed grant and then you don't get the one after that, and then everybody comes to the township for money. Well, it just isn't.
The municipality is using the GROW grant opportunity to apply for other things for
Yes.
recreation.
Yeah, yeah, I know
Mhm.
that.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions from council? See, you wore them out. Um, Yeah.
If she can find a way to make something work for next year, is council committed to allowing the space to be used for this
It's the
purpose? 'Cause
space, I don't think the space is an issue, and by the way, you've brightened up it looks a lot better.
Yeah,
So-
it's a work in progress, but
Yeah.
it would be finished if we had the opportunity to be there again.
So you're really looking for the opportunity to be there again?
Yeah, and some sort of partnership similar to what you have with the Rails End Gallery. Wouldn't be quite that formal, but working towards that in a long term because it is in a unique location there, gets high visibility, and it would be a shame to see it sitting empty. And we can't commit to doing what we did this year without any resources. So we need to work together. So perhaps some Dysart staff could be a participant in the planning meeting at HCDC, which will be facilitated by Heather Reed, to come up with some ideas to put a plan together.
I support making it available. Like it was a great thing this summer on that
Yeah.
note, but the way forward, I guess, would be you'll come back to us with something after HCDC meets.
Yeah, now, I'm used to going to county council and I don't know what Dysart Council, what your process is for budget proposals. So when would you need something by? Should something come out of that
What's
HCDC
the county
meeting?
council or for this?
No, for Dysart, if there
Well,
was.
we're starting the budget process right now and it's not looking very good, to be honest.
Okay, so what I would like to offer to you is with your indication that you're interested in myself as the project coordinator, rallying the community for collaborative investment to continue this project idea and coming back to you with a proposal which might involve a little bit of input from your budget, but on the other hand, it will provide a great number of benefits.
Well, give it to us in writing so we have a chance to look at it first. Okay?
I think we're agreeable to committing to the space, but we're not committing to budgetary dollars at this point.
No, of course,
Okay, fair.
I wouldn't expect that. Talking about looking ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, anything else? Okay, thanks, Pamela.
Thank you.
I'll read a resolution. Be it resolved that council acknowledges received the presentation from Pamela Marsalis detailing the success of the Caboose Community Bike Hub and possible next steps for the future of the project, and further that council will support the continuation of the Caboose Community Bike Hub in 2026 should resources and funding be secured to continue the project. Did we get a mover and seconder for that, or?
No, what was the last
I
sentence?
said that council will support the continuation of the bike hub should the resources and funding be secured to continue the project. So we're not committing that we're doing anything, but just saying that if they find it, continuing.
Fair enough. Okay, mover and seconder. Walt and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, next, Greg Sutton. 5 minutes. Just have to tell everybody.
I can guarantee.
You heard it, did you?
Yeah, you were the people, your people put the proposals together, so
Okay.
I'm just responding to.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, first of all, I am Greg Sutton and I'm representing the owners of the 7 properties on South Island of Halliburton Lake. And we have some of representation from some of those people with us today. We're here, the basis of the proposal is that with 7 cottages on the island now, we require 14 parking spots.
Right.
That's 2 for each of the cottages. Currently, there are only 8 spots. Note that in the mid 80s, I think at 83, one of the 4 lots was further severed into 4 lots. So there were additional 3 lots made. Then the second part has to do with dock licensing. And we, being on an island, we require docking so that we don't have to walk across the water to get to our cottages. And currently, there are 2 docks. One services 3 properties and one services 4 properties. But there are currently only 2 docking spaces on that. So the other 2 properties use that as necessary. Now, in reply to the report that's been made by your staff, and that should be in your package, we have several significant responses. The first recommendation had to do with having additional survey made. And when our counselor Barry Boyce and Jeff Isles from the planning department walked through the property, we identified places where it could be done. And in fact, any work on the island has only used the original survey that was done for the island. There was a discussion about how we would indicate those. And I said at the time that we would use geographic coordinates because we have the technology able to do that today. That has been done. I know on the original map that I sent in, that the parking spots themselves in relation to the whole area are very small, and it made that map difficult to read. But now the spots are staked, and we have the geographic coordinates that I will be providing to Jeff Isles. So I see no need to have the survey and to have to incur the cost of the survey for such small additions. Point 2 had to do with signage, and this is an easy one to deal with because we were already in the process of working out signs. They haven't been made yet until we know exactly what's going down.
Right.
But we're quite comfortable with that. Okay, the third one was confusing to us because it says registered owners to pay any outstanding taxes. Are there taxes on the public roadway there?
I wouldn't say
So
so.
I just need to know if we need to do anything else.
Jeff, can you speak to that point just so that they understand what that means?
Yeah, certainly. That condition is fairly standard. It means that if any property owner is overdue on the taxes for their respective properties, then they should pay those outstanding taxes.
So the island property owners have to make sure their taxes are up to date before we're going to grant them parking spots on municipal land. That's what that means. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like, if this is going to be in your final recommendation, is there a clear way that you could write that? Because everybody, when they read it, yeah, we thought you were asking for us to pay taxes on a property that we don't own, I guess. So as long as that's clear.
Just your own taxes.
Your property.
Oh, we know about those.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, recommendation 4 had to do with the $5 million liability insurance. I checked with my insurance broker, and in fact, my cottage insurance does cover that liability insurance. I only have $2 million liability right now. I guess the question is, does each cottage owner have to have $5 million liability insurance on the property, or does it have to be a total of 5 million amongst the 7?
Yeah, normally for agreements like this, the group would form together into one group, and that group would need 5 million liability insurance. So I'm not sure the answer to that. I assume the group would need 5 million liability insurance, but I'd have to verify.
Okay, if each of the owners had 5 million on their property, and our insurance companies indicate that where we park would be covered by that 5 million, our 5 million liability insurance.
Well, you just name us as a third party.
Okay. Thank you.
And it would have to specify that where you park is on municipal property. And I think that's where you might run into issues with your insurance company.
Okay. Then number 6. Okay, this is for the licensings for the docks. Now, obviously, as I said earlier, we're on an island, so we need a way to get there. We have docks. Since 1978, there have been docks there. And I understand the dock licensing as in terms of our history is a recent bylaw, and it's our feeling that we should be grandfathered in. It was so basic at the time that it wasn't even included on a requirement for the developer. It was only parking was included at that time. The assumption I take, and we have all taken for all those years, is that you know, it was recognized that we would have to have docks to park our boats at, and so I don't see. As I said, I think we should be grandfathered into that and not have to pay those yearly fees.
That's a license of occupation then, Jeff?
Yeah, if I could just elaborate. So there are no municipal approvals for docks. Staff do recognize that they have been there for a long time. And docks, they're encroachments on municipal properties. It's not something that's grandfathered. So staff recommend that permissions be included in this agreement. We're doing an agreement anyway, so we can include permissions for those docks. Based on the history of other similar approvals for docks, staff recommend an annual license fee, but that's at council's discretion. But I certainly recommend that we include approvals for these docks in the agreements.
Okay, so that.
Can I ask a question there maybe?
Yeah, sure.
We've got it down at $500 per property. Could we have it like maybe $500 per dock if there's 2 docks?
Or for the group, because it's more utility than it is for enjoyment. It's just,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
anyway, you had 500 for the group.
Is that a
I'd split
fair?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the price is at council's discretion. For other locations, it's been $500 per property and per slip. So I just that's where that recommendation came from.
Nancy?
Who actually owns these docks and who takes them in and puts them out?
We do.
You do.
Yes.
And where are they stored? Just
They are stored away from, on private property, away from. So there's no concern with the docks.
Greg, I don't think your mic's on, just so you know.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I've never
Perfect.
been accused of being too quiet.
There you go. I can hear you now.
Okay. I have to go back to the original 1978. You know, most of these cottagers have been around since that time. And it just seems to me there are some disadvantages of being on an island. And one of them is that you don't get a lot of service. Okay. And so that and that the docks have been there. And quite frankly, we simply perceive this as an additional tax. We're not getting any additional service or nothing new is being added to what we've been doing since the 70s. And it, quite frankly, it just doesn't seem fair. It seems a little petty. I mean, you can look at what the license has. I mean, you have the option of giving the license at no charge, so it feels a requirement that planning seems to have, or the direction they seem to be going on. But I simply think to add another tax onto us at this point in time is, I know government needs money. I'm not saying that, but this is, it's
Well, we'll decide the amount there, so.
okay.
Back to you on that.
All right.
So
So let's just go on, because
how many fists have you got there?
well, your staff,
Good Lord.
your staff supplied the report that we're addressing here, but it won't. Yeah. Now on 7, this has to do to the cost that they're recommending for the 6 additional parking spots. And this is probably the most contentious issue in the whole thing. When the original severance for the island was done, part of the requirement, and it's your document, it's the agreement, the original agreement, was that the contractor provide 2 parking spots per lot. When the additional severance was done, I think around 1983, there was no such requirement. And in fact, there's no record, I've requested a couple of times, and when I went to the file, there's no record of addressing severance for those lots at all. And so that, to me, and it was mentioned in the original back in December 10th presentation you had, that sort of woke this dog, anyway, that somebody in the several of the councils talked about the issue should have been dealt with at the time of the severance. Had it been dealt with at the time of the severance, there would have been no cost for the parking. There was no such thing within here. So it's again, and this is a major one, but it's again our feeling that there should be no charge for something that the council should have dealt with in 1983.
Okay, let's make your point, make your point.
Okay, is there any, I'd kind of like a feeling of, you know, of how
So,
people see the logic of
I'm gonna ask a question. I've been up to the site a couple of times. There's lots of room to create some more parking. I think everything can be worked out with adjacent property owners and everything. It's not an issue. As far as the number 7 goes with the parking, I do tend to kind of agree with them that there should have been something done back in 1983. I just want to ask you, if these parking spots, your group is willing to create these parking spots at your expense, right?
Yes, we're responsible for, not only are we responsible for the parking lots, but we're responsible for the maintenance of the road.
Yeah. So they'll build the new parking spots. They'll maintain the parking spots. They look after their own docks. We don't have to do anything of that. So I just wanted to bring that up. So when we're discussing like this money in lieu of parking, I think in lieu of parking is we take that money to create new parking, right? So in this case, they're willing to do it on their own.
Okay.
Okay.
And just as a small attachment to this generated as a result of the meeting in December, when you had a presentation about one of the cottagers whose property sides onto the road allowance there. And their concern was that their driveway was being blocked, Well, again, I haven't been able to find a drive because their original driveway was, they now have 3 driveway access to the property. The original one was on the other side of their property. In measuring, they're not they don't have space to have a driveway between the road allowance and their cottage. So they are parking on the road allowance. And I don't see why, we're looking at charging us, and there seems an inequity there. But that's a minor part. We aren't concerned. We've dealt with in terms of the planning for them having access to the property. Part 4 is the dock licensing, and we've already dealt with that.
Well, the issue really is the money here now.
The big issue is the money. Okay. And I just want to make sure I've answered all the questions that were in. Another issue that was is in here is that there be no storage on the parking areas. One of the things that was brought up in the meeting was that we might want to get additional parking for the storage of our boat trailers and stuff. I don't know why that's in there. I do know we met years and years ago about some safety concerns about the access there. And we had some trailers parked, and the only concern that was expressed to us at that time was that we not have one of those big storage units put in. So we are definitely concerned about the line about no storage, because
Your boat trailers is what you're talking about.
yeah.
We have several of these issues like this that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And we're trying to treat them all the same. That's
Yeah. Well, I think the issue is that we have been parking again, like we've been there a long time. And when you're an island property,
Yeah.
I mean, I
Don't
would
have much
love to
choice.
park my boat trailer on the island if somebody would be willing to bring it back and forth for me. No charge. Okay. So
If I could just respond to that last one.
Yeah.
So I just want to remind council, this is municipal property or public property that the public can use. So storage of items on our property is a liability issue. In terms of boat trailers, the way the policy is written is those parking spaces or that second parking space is required so that the applicant can use it for their boat trailer. So abandoned or parked boat trailer should be in a designated parking space.
but we have no issue with that.
Okay, it's not storage. It's
just the way it's written is that there will be no parking of trailers. Okay, do we see because I have received a ticket for parking in my own parking spot on the island as I was going home last September. And I had that dealt with, and it was parking in my parking spot that I've used since I've owned the cottage and was developed by the contractor back in 78. But the bylaw enforcement, because there are no records, and there will be after this. So it's, I might seem a little sensitive, but it was pretty distressing when I went to go home last September and I had a ticket on my car. Okay, so that's why we're trying to get it
all
to
solved.
clarify everything. Yes. I'm sorry. I just have a few little short things here.
Good.
Believe me, I spent over a year dealing with
I
this.
understand your frustration.
Okay, the last one, this is going to curl your socks, but anyway, that we should get a refund for the payments that we've already made for the parking and docks agreement, because these should have been dealt with already. Okay, So in fact, if the things had been dealt with already, you wouldn't have had to listen to all this. Okay? So again, I guess I'm not a politician. And I understand how the workers in preparing this, their responsibility is to put it forward to you. But as a representative of the people, the 7 groups of people anyway, I'm just trying to clarify and make sure that the other side, the people who elect you, are supported appropriately.
Murray, can I make a point just to bring council around full circle to how this started? This has been a bylaw issue in this area. So there's people who live around where these parking spots are and they access their driveways that way. And then there's been conflict between the island owners and the people who are on the mainland. So to be too loosey-goosey about where these parking spots are or where people are allowed to park is not a good idea for the public tax dollar, for one, because staff will be repeatedly called to the area. And that's what we're concerned about. Township's been roped into it because it's become a contentious issue. So we're trying to clear things up and make it official so that everyone understands where they're allowed to park and where they're not. We all understand island access owners need to be able to get to their properties, absolutely. So we're trying to make it official and make it less, get away from the problem that we've found ourselves in that has caused a lot of work for one area in the municipality. So this is what council needs to consider when they're looking at the property. How are we cleaning it up? What's the best way? Even if people have hard feelings, we'll say, there's the rules, here's where the registered spots are, they're doing everything they need to do. And then we move on, right? But that's why the rules are in place on those, the conditions are in place on the staff report.
Okay, just a quick response to that. In the presentation in September, okay, we didn't hear anything about that. We were not invited to that presentation. And the first thing we heard was a memo that was posted on a tree that indicated that we would be ticketed. And at that time, council had no idea of where the contractor had built the spots, and in fact told us at that time that we couldn't use the original spots that we had. We would have to park at the top of the hill far away from our dogs. So we want it clarified more than anybody. And the access to the, I won't call it a driveway anymore, the parking space that the mainland person uses on the road right away is clearly identified by the coordinates that we have now and will provide to the planning department. So we realized there was an issue between an islander and the person at the thing, but there were many errors in the presentation of that was made. And so I just don't want it to appear that we've been doing a lot of bad things, so it had to be cleared up, because that's just not true. And we're quite happy to clear it up. And we're quite happy to build the parking spaces that had the severance been in the first part would already be built. Okay, we aren't happy with paying fees that weren't in place what seems like a century ago, but it's only what, anyway.
I've talked to both sides of the parties on that note there, and I don't think it's really going to be an issue going forward as long as we put the proper, or somebody puts the proper signage up.
And they're going to do that.
You can't park here. This is whatever. And there's really lots of room for everybody to get along in there. It just needs to be tidied up and cleaned up and expanded a little bit. And with some signage, I honestly don't think there'll be an issue.
And they're the only people that are on the side that the parking would be on. The other 3 properties that access the boat road our contractor built, are on the other side. So I don't see.
So the issue is the liability insurance and.
Which I'll get clarification.
Yeah,
We'll get
yeah,
clarification.
and the fact, what kind of fees are we at? That's it.
Those are the three.
Good. I knew we'd get there.
So I can go through the conditions as they're listed, if council would like to review them in the report here. The first one is that a site plan be prepared by a land surveyor. I understand there's like, we use GIS here in the office. We often say it's not entirely correct. So that's the only thing I would caution about not getting it actually staked out, is that there might be further conflict about where the parking spots actually exist if you're not using an actual survey. So if council's willing to take that chance, they might just cause more work on the file going forward.
It was agreed with Jeff Isles. Barry was added that he indicated that in fact coordinates were now that we have the technology, was something that their planning department used. If we were able to do that, that would be appropriate. So that's something, because I can't come back from London every day to redo something.
No.
And I understand there were reasons that this was delayed over the summer, but here we are.
Jeff, do you have a comment on that? Since you're
Yeah, and if I can add to that, I think the comments provided today, and mostly just like the question about where driveways are located, I think it even further emphasizes the need for a site plan prepared by a professional. And that's, I want to mention, that's really standard for agreements too, is to have plans prepared by professionals. But it's really important to ensure that we know the locations of these parking areas, and that they'll be on municipal property and not encroaching on someone else's property, and they're not blocking driveways. So I think it's really important to get it done right the first time. Yeah, and it's very standard for a process like this.
I agree. It should have been done right the first time in 1983. However, you yourself say when you're going out and looking for things, you use coordinates. Coordinates are coordinates.
I've been on site with Councillor Boyce, and the site plan provided does not appear to match what I saw on site when I overlay it on the imagery. So it looks like I question the location of them. That's staff's recommendation. I know it adds additional cost to the island residents, but again, I think the important thing is to do it right, so that, as Mallory mentioned, there's not ongoing complications.
Let's maybe move on to the cost of the parking areas and all this stuff, because I think part of the thing is that these people are looking at the money that they've got to spend to get this through. So maybe if we do something on these parking things and the stocking thing, then the survey thing might not be as big an issue here.
Or we get the survey done and forget the rest.
That's what I'm kind of saying, is that if these people are, they don't have to spend $12,000 in lieu of parking, maybe they spend a couple $1,000s on a survey. I'm just throwing it out there, but
if you look in your packet or whatever, there are, you've used over and over again. Okay, we'll go back. It's in here. Okay. That's the original survey. And if you go through for everything, the severance of the two properties on the south side of the road, they all use this survey to do that. So, and the coordinates, coordinates are coordinates. If you look at the coordinates.
Over there, like by a quarter, I think somebody has to physically be on the ground.
There's stakes in the ground.
Yeah, there's a surveyor right here.
I don't mind, if you don't mind. I'm an Ontario land surveyor, obviously. We weren't legislated in 2010 to do geodetic coordinates. All those surveys are based on from the 1860s and so on, using True North and all that kind of stuff. You can't mix the two. So the proper way to do it is just the way you're now discussing. Give them a discount one way, and I'm retired too. Don't get me wrong here. But nobody with a layperson can get the accuracy a surveyor can get to put this in the geodetic world and give you a proper site plan that can be attached to a proper agreement. I'm just, that, they're your mixed bag. In Monmouth, the geodetic coordinates in Monmouth in some places are out 600 feet.
Oh, I know that.
Right? So you can't mix the two. Right? You just have to do it right.
Okay.
So you know that
So
when you
what-
park,
what
you're
kind
not
of
over the line,
costs
right?
are we looking at this ballpark to have a survey done?
I've been out of the, I'm not into it anymore. It might 4,000 or 5,000. I don't know it, but it's not two probably.
So then you're done with it.
And it's attached to your agreement. And if they delineate the lines as you go, when you're doing your clearing, you come right up to the side of the markings that are there and it's all known and it's fresh and everybody knows. Those surveys are ours. I mean, I'm Greg Bishop, Curry, like those are our surveys from our old files, but they're not geodetically located. You can't take your phone or anything else and relate that to the survey.
I want to protect the island owners and that they feel that they actually have a home for their cars. I don't want you guys ever to feel like we've given you like an incorrect place to park your car. Someone goes and gets a survey of their property and your parking space is actually over their private property. I never want that to happen to the island owners. I want them to be able to get to their property. And I want us to be able to say in this office, they got a registered survey. This is where they are legally allowed to be, as per our agreement, so leave them alone. So this is kind of, it goes both ways, right? And it protects people's entrances to their lands too on the mainland. And that's the only thing we're concerned about. We don't want to do it halfway and then someone to take it further to the side and prove that you're actually not allowed to be there.
So if you get a proper survey, that should be the end. That will be.
Yeah.
Okay, I will have, I mean, I'm representing people.
Yeah.
I'm not authorized to make decisions.
You
but
can't say
I
yes.
could recommend that, assuming that the other fees
Yep, we're
are
done.
non-existent.
And that's a big commitment by us to get you
Yes,
done.
I understand.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure everybody will go on.
There you go.
You have your people here and I have a small.
Okay, good. Okay, Mallory, do we have any kind of a resolution on?
So do we want to approve for processing? We'll keep the survey condition in. You guys would want to remove the annual license fee as well as the cash in lieu of parking?
That's what I heard. I don't know.
Jeff, do you need it to be noted in the resolution when that's being waived?
No, we can remove it from the resolution ourselves.
Okay,
as
so
long
I'm
as
just gonna
council provides
remove-
that direction.
Okay, so I'll remove 6 and 7, but I'll leave the liability. If it's on municipal land, we do need liability insurance. It's just a standard that we need. I can read a resolution. Be it resolved that council approve for processing application L04-PK-2025-002 to amend a parking agreement with 7 water access properties located on South Island on Halliburton Lake to add 6 additional parking spaces. It is 6, right, Jeff?
Correct. 6
Okay.
additional for a
I'm just
total of
making
14.
sure. And 2 docks to be used for access and parking purposes, subject to the following conditions. 1, the applicant shall submit a site plan prepared by an Ontario land surveyor showing the location of the 14 parking spaces and 2 docks. 2, that each parking space and docking envelope be signed appropriately to designate the parking spaces. 3, registered owners to pay any outstanding taxes, and again, that's on their personal property. 4, registered owners shall obtain liability insurance in the amount of 5 million, naming the municipality as additional insured. And 5, registered owners to pay all administration and legal fees owed to the municipality of Dysart.
Okay. Moved by Barry, seconded by Carm. All in favor? Sure. Thank you.
Just one thing. You said that if you point at your cottage insurance, you said something about you.
We'd have to be named, but I think you're going to end up with the 7 of you buying one policy. And name us.
Anyway, but Dysart et al. Would have to be named.
As
on the
a
policy as
third
well.
party, yeah. Okay.
Sorry I took so long.
Get it done right.
Okay, now. Okay, next, lands of,
So this would be lands of Corrigan. This is agenda 3D. This first severance proposal. The application is to merge the Shore Road allowance with the adjacent land lease holdings, which is currently leased by Corrigan. Council granted the original Shore Road allowance surplus on February 25th, 2025. Council will also consider bylaw 2025-98 at its meeting today. On October 28th, 2025 to finalize the Shore Road Allowance closing application, which will formally close, stop, and convey the identified surplus lands. The purpose of the severance application is to establish the new lease lands that consolidates the existing lease lands known as Part 4 on the draft R 19R plan with portion of the original Shore Road Allowance identified as Part 1 on the draft 19R plan. The resulting parcel will form a single lease holding. No new lots or developments are proposed as part of this application. Staff noted that there was a canopy shelter located on the property, currently extends across the southern property boundary. It's recommended that the applicant resolve the encroachment issue. Staff has advised and will work with the applicant to resolve the encroachment of the canopy. Consultation, there are no circulation requirements in the Planning Act. However, staff have circulated to internal departments, and to date, no comments have been received. And staff recommend that council support the general principle of the proposed consent as submitted, subject to the registered owner satisfying the recommended conditions.
Okay. Sounds like it's pretty straightforward, Greg. Anything to add or?
Not at all.
Okay, resolution then.
Be it resolved that council support the general principle of a proposal for consent file number D00SV 2025-001, lands of Harcourt Park Incorporated, leaseholder of Corrigan, subject to the conditions and comments outlined in the staff report.
Okay, mover and seconder. Pat and Tammy, all in favor? Carry. Next.
Thank you. The next one is for lands of Harcourt Park, lease holding of Weston. The application seeks to rectify overlapping and expired lease registrations resulting from a previous lot line adjustment and transfers of land without appropriate planning approvals. The proposed consent will enable the creation of the new lease consistent with the legal description registered as HA 54368, sure compliance with planning regulations and resolving the title conflict with the adjacent leaseholder. To resolve this, the consultant is submitting a new consent application to formalize Western lease using the legal description from the HA 54368. The process will also cancel the original lease and deposit the new lease accordingly. Again, no circulation requirements in the Planning Act. Staff did circulate to internal departments. To date, no comments have been received, and recommendation is staff recommends that council support the general principle of the proposed consent as submitted, subject to register owner satisfying the recommended conditions.
Any issue with that one? Okay.
Slow you down too much. I've been busy today. Yeah, this one was a little different because we actually applied for 2 severances back in the day. The neighbor wanted to buy a portion from the client here and went ahead to do so. We had to do road allowance closing as well. So what happened along the way was the one severance lapsed. So Mr. Western's lapsed. So he still got his original lease around his property that includes the piece that he already gave to the neighbor. So they're not in land titles right now. They're still in the old registry system because they have an overlapping deeds. So this will correct the problem.
Okay, thanks, Greg. Okay, resolution then, Mallory.
Be resolved that council support the general principle of a proposal for consent, file number D00-SV-2025-009, lands of Harcourt Park Incorporated, leaseholding of Weston, subject to the comments and conditions outlined in the staff report.
Mover and seconder. Carm and Walt, all in favor? Gary. We're going to have a 15-minute break here. And it will be 15 minutes, not a half an hour. Make it 5. Okay. That's a good thing nobody heard that. Okay, is Dan coming on? There he is.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Sorry I didn't hear. Are you ready for me? Ready to start in?
We are ready.
Okay, well, this is sort of my basic report to get back to you for the month of September. I was happy to be able to say that the call volume had dropped a little bit based on a year before. Unfortunately, the total volume of numbers is still up by over 70 incidents over the previous year. So that being said, we're at the time of year again where we're looking for more help. We've lost a couple this year, unfortunately, but we do consistently. So we're looking to take on some new members. We have gone through the interview process at this point, and we're hopefully having some new members starting with us by November 17th. And again, that should correspond with our training program that we work with the county-wide. We're going through here starting in the spring. Well, sorry, through the winter, I guess. So I don't know if there's any specific numbers anyone's interested in, but just for the month of September there, the percentage of medical calls has been back up based on the total number. But overall, it was nice to see that they had dropped a little bit at that time.
Yeah, that's because of that new EMS program.
It had dropped, and I was hoping it would continue, so I'm really hoping this is just an oddity for September. It has certainly kept us in bed overnight a little bit better.
Good.
Yeah. Dan, could you give us a brief update on those fires that our fire department and the count, all the other municipalities put out there in the last few weeks? Just yeah, the grass fires. I saw pictures and everything like that, but that must have been unbelievable. What a great job they not only your fire department, our fire department, but the whole county did there because it seemed like it was something that could have really got out of control.
Well, thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to mention that. That's kind of be reflected hopefully more so in next month's report with the actual numbers and but just the commitment of our firefighters to get out and do these things. We've had lots of late night call outs for whatever reason for these grass fires. So one out at Loon Lake, very thankful to I think the gentleman's name's Doug Harper, who sent a letter to the Echo and formal letter, and he forwarded it to me here to say thank you very much for the hard work and efforts. That call there, we invited Highlands East as mutual aid to come and assist us there, and the winds were fairly strong. That one had to be about a 5-acre area, and we had to go back the next day. Then the following week, we had another similar incident, large area of grass fire, brush fire area that had to be taken care of. And then we've had, we were out on one of the islands on Redstone. We had to go out, so very thankful again for the support of the council there in order to purchase that boat. We did make use of both boats, and we also had Algonquin Highlands come and assist us for that fire. There was a structure on that island that the building got up close to, or the fire got up right close to. So happy to say it did not get involved in the fire. Again, to the hard work and dedication of the firefighters that we have here. The conditions have been extremely dry, similar to when we actually asked for the fire ban in August. Certainly down in the ground. I know several of our councilors there. You're in the construction business, roads and such. You'll know how dry the conditions are. Surface at this point, because of the most recent rain, down maybe an inch or two is sufficient to keep it from spreading. But if you happen to get down deep in there for whatever reason, the fires that we've been fighting are down like a foot into the ground. So yeah, I'm very thankful to the team we have here. I can tell you right now, just from reflecting numbers, that I have 11 firefighters that have given more than 200 volunteer hours this year. And I suspect all 11 of them will be over 300 by the end of the year, the way things are going.
Amazing.
So unfortunately, that's reflected in the pay, not in the total hours, not in the call numbers. So, sorry, did I answer your question there?
That's great. I just wanted an update because I know that a lot of people were saying, like how big were they and like, how close were they to being really out of control, and so what a great job that all the fire departments did. So I just wanted to I wanted to tell people that when whoever asked me now that, yeah, they definitely did do a great job. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm proud to be able to say that, we do have an agreement with the MNRF for certain things, and they certainly have the experience with the forest fires, and that sort of thing. But I'm happy to be able to say that our municipal department, with the assistance of our neighbors, was able to contain these fires. So, but as you see, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit scruffy looking. I had to give up my haircut to go to one of these calls. So,
It's going gray on top, Dan.
yeah, there's a white patch here. I'll be honest with you. I thought I got into some drywall dust one day and it wouldn't brush out.
Okay, resolution then, Valerie. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the fire department report for September 2025.
Mover and seconder. Walt and Stu. Barry, all in favor? Carried. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, veterans banners, is that a request from the Legion then? Yeah. Oh, okay. Andrea?
Morning. The first report I have is about the banners along Highland Street. So we saw a post on Facebook, I think it was 2 weeks ago, about the Legion and veteran banners to go up along Highland Street. So one thing we just wanted to bring forward to council for consideration is that, and I did speak to the BIA. The BIA is fine with their banners being removed for veteran banners to go up. The one thing is that we had removed to having the vinyl banners with the BIA, so it would reduce the amount of times we had to contract Sharp Electric to bring in the bucket truck and go up and down the posts, because a bucket truck is needed right now to move the banners, and also somebody who has insurance and et cetera. So it's quite costly. And Gerald had said that if we could reduce the number of times that's required, it would be great. He would be grateful for that, because when he does go up, when he does the banners, it takes usually 2 days because he has to go up the pole and remove what's currently there and then switch them out. So that's why we had moved to that method. So if council would, the veteran banners are a great thing. They have them in many communities. They look amazing. It's just something though that council would need to consider. There's a large cost involved, and we don't even know if Gerald has the time. So it's something that would be ideal if the Legion could arrange for that and then also cover the expenses.
I don't know who else would do that.
I don't know. We have talked, and it will come forward in budget, about the possibility of moving the hardware and having hardware that can be located lower on the pole. I still don't have an answer whether or not our staff would be able to change that, because our poles are a hexagon shape, so you can't just lean up a normal extension ladder on the pole. It has to be a step ladder. So I don't know if the step ladder would be tall enough for the working at heights safely, even if the banners were moved lower with different hardware. So that's something to still consider.
We'll find somebody. There's other guys with bucket trucks. I'm sure Gerald will have a chat with him too, see if we can iron something out, but we'll make it work on that note.
So,
What about a genie lift? Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Is there not something like, does every town have to do this? Like, is there not something that is available that you can do it from the ground, like a flagpole?
I haven't noticed that. I haven't seen it advertised when I've been looking at different banner options. It's possible, but when I look at other towns, they all look like they have the banner arms for the banners. I think some other towns though have just more resources, right? Because they're larger, they're affiliated with a larger city center. So and some of them I think have the bucket trucks within their own municipal equipment.
Find the bucket truck.
Yeah, if Gerald's too busy, which like I said, well, again, I think part of the process is somebody has to be certified electrical to go up the poles. Is that right?
Yeah.
But if it's a hydro pole, if it's our own, I don't think he has to be. But anyway, I'll talk to Gerald about it. I'm certain we can figure it out. I know a couple other guys that do it as well.
That the electrical may be related to because when he goes up, he changes out the lights or fixes the lights. That may be what that's related to.
If that's the case, then if that wasn't a requirement, then just Carm said genie lift would be fine too. Like it's nothing to whistle up the street with one of those. Anyway, we'll find a way.
Okay, leave that with you then.
I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved that council provides the Legion approval to put up the veteran banners along Highland Street, provided that the Legion arranges and pays for the banners to be put up and taken down. Once the veteran banners are taken down, the current BIA banners must be put back up.
Anyway,
Sorry, did you have a question, Murray? There was silence on our end here.
is everybody okay with that? Okay, mover and seconder then. And Barry, all in favor? Barry. Okay. AJ LaRue.
Good morning. A recent check of the arena propane system by Sparling's Propane resulted in the stand heaters being deemed unsafe for use and that we would no longer be able to use them. Staff are seeking pre-approval to purchase and install 3 radiant tube heaters with propane conversion kits at the AJ LaRue Arena for the 2025-2026 fall-winter season. The estimated cost to replace the stand heaters is between $21,000 and $25,000.
What's that amount again, Andrew?
21,000 to 25,000.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we have to have the heaters.
Yeah.
So little choice.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think we have to have them. I know I go to the rink a lot. I don't like going out there without a heater. If you go to the Minden rink, it's all you hear about is complaints about no
About
heat.
the cold.
Yeah, so.
How many years, Andrew, has those heaters lasted?
10 years. The old heaters lasted, but they were installed. I just want to make note that they were installed improperly and then caused them to the actual tubes to crack, and so that gases could be released into the arena. So hopefully the next time they'll last another 10 years above that.
They were put in through a grant when we did Hockeyville as well. We won the 25,000.
Okay, so mover and seconder.
I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved that council provides pre-approval for staff to purchase and install 3 radiant tube heaters with propane conversion kits at the AJ LaRue Arena for the 2025-2026 fall-winter season, and further requests that the purchase be included in the mayor's proposed budget, and further directs that the project be funded by the Arena Capital Projects budget.
Barry and Nancy, all in favor? Carried.
Murray, can I have another question?
Yeah.
This isn't on the agenda, but can I just give me a quick answer, please, for this, please, Andrew?
Yeah.
What's our budget for boat ramps?
Boat ramps, our annual budget for maintenance of boat launches is $5,000.
And I know this fall, I don't know whether the rest of the councilors here, but I've had quite a few calls, and I've gone to a few boat ramps where they've been, especially with the low water, it's extremely low this year. But I think when we're in the budget, Murray, I know we got a lot of things that we're gonna have to put in that budget, but I think that definitely Andrew's gonna need a little bit more money to boat ramps, and definitely kind of letting care.
And I just wanted to make note that we spent that $5,000 by early June this year.
Is there something wrong with the one at Head Lake here?
Yes, just because the water level is really low, and at the end of the boat launch it drops off. But right now it's almost impossible for us to get any gravel in there. And to do it on a timely manner, I still have to get permission from the M&R.
Okay. Okay, so. Okay, so that's your answer?
Yes.
Okay, Next,
I just think that we should definitely consider putting a little bit more money in the budget for,
maybe we will give you $6,000.
yeah, okay. Well, there's a lot of people with big expensive boats.
I know. I don't know where the money's coming from, that's all. We'll have to find it. Okay, the Grow grant application, what's that all about?
Yes, so there is an opportunity to apply for a Trillium Grow Grant application. I know Pamela Marsai had alluded to one before. The thing with the Bike Hub was if you have an active seed grant, you're not allowed to apply for that project for a Grow grant. We can apply as a municipality for a Grow grant to expand recreation programming. So we currently have youth and women's soccer, track and field. We had dancing in the park. We're doing senior fitness programs at the arena. All of those programs would qualify for us to apply for a Grow grant. The Grow grant, what we would be looking at is applying for the lowest amount, which is $100,000 over a 2 to 3 year period. 20% of that can be used for capital purchases, and then the other 80% is for space, the contract staff, the direct personal costs. So we have interest in doing even like soccer indoors in the fall and winter. The school boards has said that they have space like that. JDH, the gym space is available. So that's something that we can apply for to expand on the track and field program and offer more of the seniors fitness classes. We're getting 18 people on average at every session, and we've had requests for more classes. And same with like the dancing in the park that took place in June with the participation grant. That was really well received, and people have asked more about that. So it's just things that we're looking at expanding, and with this grant we could do so, and there wouldn't be a cost to the municipality for it.
We're applying for that.
For applying, like, and if we get the grant, great. If we don't, then we'll keep operating the way we are and look for ways to expand elsewhere.
Okay. So resolution then, Mallory?
Be it resolved that council acknowledges this report concerning the Ontario Trillium Foundation Grow Grant application, and that council authorizes staff to proceed with an application to the OTF Grow Grant based on the proposal contained within the staff report.
Sector. Tammy and Nancy, all in favor? Carrie. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Building bylaw. So Andrew, we did talk about getting the snowmobiles into town, and you had a good idea there. So can we move on that, or?
Yeah, I can definitely look into that and see what it really will detail to get a couple planners moved and make room for the snowmobilers to come down through the Head Lake Trail between the high school and Head Lake Park.
Do you want to jump to that item with when Haley gets on while Andrew's here?
Yeah, we might as well. And that's a letter from Melissa.
Okay, one sec. So, so as council's aware, because we've linked it, it's against provincial regulations to just have a bylaw that allows snowmobiles to be on the roads. They can cross, obviously, when they can cross the road at a certain angle. But are we looking just to make it so they can get closer to the restaurant? Is that the hope, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking about along the boardwalk here?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'm just trying to catch up, that's all. So I'll note that.
Highway side, yeah.
Okay, so park staff are going to look into a path along the boardwalk.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this item specifically, I think they have concern. I know that, you know, when not too long ago, people used to park their snowmobiles right in front of McCack's, right? But unfortunately, we just can't allow that per bylaw. What are council's thoughts on that?
Well, I think what Mrs. Walker's wanting is to allow them to the parking lot across from Outdoors Plus, so they can just walk up over the hill to the McCack's or to whatever on Main Street.
So there's a library parking lot and there's the one down there.
Yeah, because right now they get stopped at the edge of Head Lake Park.
Yeah.
And they park just on the water or just on the edge of and they just don't bother coming into town.
Yeah.
And also, last year we fenced off some of that parkland, I guess, going down the boardwalk there, right back to the high school. And I'm assuming it's a better idea just to, if we fence it the full length or put directional signs up to the full length to get them on our side, you know, the I'm gonna say the boardwalk side of the lake all the way down, and then get them up into that parking lot, or they can park in several different places there.
Yeah.
On that note, so to me, that would be the best place to do it.
So Haley, do we have our, sorry to put you on the spot here, do we have our designated parking spots, or I don't know if anyone knows, do we have them in a bylaw, or did council just designate them at some point and that's where they go every year? Or does Parks know that?
I think it was just a one-off with council at one point.
One-off.
They decided
Okay.
that was going to be where they created the parking lot for the.
So does anyone see issues with it? So obviously we're talking about the parking lot near the library on York Street. Are there issues with that being like, that we're not foreseeing that there would be with snowmobiles parking there?
Well, unless there wasn't room when they got there because cars were in there. But we'd have to rope off an area, I think.
Exactly. You'd have to designate an area. I'm just, it's not, yeah. I assume that's fine, but I don't know. So that's the only reason I'm asking.
If the pavement's bare, they're not gonna come anyways. No. They're gonna park where the snow stops, but if there is snow, they're gonna drive up to the parking lot and then walk up into town.
Yeah, and then they can go right up the back street and then, yeah. Okay.
So I can add to this resolution that we acknowledge receipt, and further that council directs that, a section of the York Street parking lot.
Yeah, I get it.
Just for clarity, from the boardwalk path, how do the Skidoos get to the library parking lot?
That's a good question.
I thought they weren't allowed on the street.
They're not. So I'm wondering, yeah, there would need to be some sort of path they could take that they aren't on a sidewalk or on the street.
The Rails and Gallery all along there, have they? No? Yeah.
Like they can't come up between by the library there because that's where the sewage
they-
lines are blocked off for
But they can get
freezing.
on the grass before that. Before the
Can you picture
information.
somewhere, Andrew, that you can delineate a direction to there?
There's a little bit of a spot they can get to, but they have to ride along the plowed pathway in Head Lake Park. But there is a little spot right behind the gallery and the Four Seas right there where they could park. But the walking access, they'd still have to walk all the way around the library and up the hill. But I don't know how
Or
to.
getting the Skidoos from the park up to the library upper parking lot. Can you see?
Yeah, there isn't really a way through Head Lake Park to get the snowmobiles up into the upper parking lot. Into the lower parking lot, yeah, but they would have to cross the paths.
Do you want staff to return? I don't think we're gonna have a lot of snow in November. Do you want staff to return with some suggestions of parking lots that are, or parking spaces that could be closer after investigation?
And years ago, they used to have a designated spot far end of the parking lot off York Street there. I remember that. Snowmobiles were always parked there.
Where Sir Sam's had the sign, that was
Yeah,
an area.
yeah.
Right?
And I don't know, somehow they got up there that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they got up there back then, but the park has expanded a lot since then, and there's park benches and a whole bunch of other obstacles for them to get through that aren't really visible, unless there is a groomed trail where we can put stop signs up and where they actually cross the paths so they don't run into pedestrians.
Like, I don't know where the trail would come, but there's got to be some place where we can get those snowmobiles up to that end of the town, because there's a lot of business at that end of the town.
Yeah.
That would like to have the snowmobile.
We've got two restaurants up there now.
Well, restaurants and other shops.
As a suggestion, you know, if we're concerned about freezing pipes there between the two. We often, when we're well drilling, we'll put in a couple layers of styrofoam SM and some gravel over top. That keeps the frost from getting in the ground. That might be a good solution to.
Yeah, in that particular area, they're already about 10 feet deep. So I'm not sure. The problem is it was the sewer lines that are getting clogged that are from a pump chamber, so they're not free flowing. And when the snowmobiles run over top of them, it drives frost down that deep and have frozen lines, and it's cost us a lot of money in the wintertime.
So if you say put something there to stop it.
Yeah. Yeah, 10 feet of frost sounds like a lot.
It does.
Do you want to direct staff to return with a report outlining options for new designated parking
Let
spots?
them come back to us with a path through there.
Yeah, so the staff can look at the logistics of the path and then where there could be some other options for designated parking spots, if that
Yeah,
works.
We'll probably want to advertise it with the Snowmobile Club as well, so that they can put it on their maps to let people know how to get into town, into the parking lots.
We'll sign it good
Yeah.
too. We can sign it.
Yeah, I think the snowmobile club should play a big part of it and sign it as well, so it becomes part of their liability.
So I'll read. So be it resolved, the council acknowledges the receipt of this letter from Melissa Walker, owner of McKeck's Tap and Grill, expressing concern over the designated parking area for snowmobiles in Haliburton Village, and further that council directs staff to return with a report outlining options for designated snowmobile parking for the 2025-2026 season. Does that cover it?
Yep. Okay, thanks.
Just need a mover and seconder for that, Murray.
Okay, Walt and Carm. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Thank you. September building permit activity. Carl?
Yes, good morning, council. So this is for the month of September. September numbers were lower than we expected based on the increase that we saw in July and August after a very slow start to the 2025 year. Any questions from council?
Well, I guess we don't know yet, but we're probably going to be quite a bit short in our budget, aren't we?
Well, so right now it's not looking that way. I think based on a maternity leave that we have in the department, it's actually going in our favor. So we'll see by the end of the year, though.
Good. Okay. And you have a suggestion for changes in the building permit fee?
Yeah, correct. So going through the numbers for the 2026 budget, we are going to be short on the calculated budget. So proposing an increase, again, I don't want to jump to a big increase right off the bat. So we're stepping that increase over 2 years. So we're looking at about 10% increase in 2026 and another 10% in 2027. This will also increase the minimum permit fee from 150 to 200 and then 225 in 2027. Along with our admin fee, that would be the same step with our admin fee. I did identify or notify the Haliburton County Home Builders Association of the proposed increase and asked that any members that had a concern with the proposed increases to let me know so I can include it in my report to council for the public meeting that's taking place in the November regular council meeting.
So Murray, I'll read the resolution to accept the building permit report first, because we're kind of get.
We'll do that first and then we'll do.
Yeah. Be it resolved that council received the September 2025 building permit activity report as information.
Mover and seconder. Barry and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Okay, now the proposed changes.
Yeah, is council's comfortable with the proposed changes? I can just read the resolution.
Yeah, if everybody.
Okay. Be it resolved that council receives the proposed changes to building permit fees and further that a public meeting is to be held on November 25th, 2025 during the regular meeting of council for the proposed changes to the fees for administration and enforcement of the Building Code Act.
Mover and seconder. Pat and Walt, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, Haley, bylaw update.
Yes, good morning. I did my update a bit earlier in the month than normal, so the numbers aren't quite reflective of the full month. So on here in October, by the time I did this report, we'd only had 5 complaints. We've had a few more since then. We're just starting to get renewals on the short-term rental licenses. There's one thing I wanted to address regarding the conditional licenses that we have issued. A handful of the conditional licenses are coming up for the renewal. Some of them were given for conditional licenses were given for structures within the water setback, which may be addressed under a proposed amendment. So for conditional licenses for that deficiency, we're just seeking council direction on if we were to renew those conditional licenses, because initially we weren't going to be renewing conditional licenses at all.
You want to do that? Yeah.
So council is okay with them renewing conditional licenses where there's a structure in the setback? Is that what you're asking, Haley?
Yeah, not for any of the other items we've issued conditional licenses for. We're not asking for renewal because they've had a year to bring those properties into compliance. But because there's still a bit of a question mark regarding structures in the water setback, we want to be able to renew those conditional licenses.
Or improvement to remove them? To renew them?
Well, to renew the conditional, just because there's still, council still hasn't made a decision on the structures in the setback situation.
Yeah, that's the reason.
Yeah, I want to make sure I'm wording this correctly. So I can say, and further that staff, further direct staff to renew conditional licenses. I don't want to say that includes structures in setback, because I imagine you have a few that have multiple issues. Is that true, Haley?
Yeah, so we have other issues where there's just too many structures. It's typically all conditional licenses are issued where properties have zoning deficiencies.
Yeah.
So there are other zoning deficiencies that aren't going to be covered under the proposed amendment, but so those ones we still feel that the property owners have had a year to bring the property into compliance and should have by the time of renewal. But with the ones of sheds within the water setback or saunas, et cetera, because there's a proposed amendment, we were asking about renewing.
So I can say further direct staff to renew conditional licenses where the zoning deficiency is a structure in the water setback. Does that cover it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I can read that. Be it resolved, the council accepts the bylaw update report for October 2025 as information, and further direct staff to renew conditional licenses where the zoning deficiency is a structure in the water setback.
Mover and seconder. Barry and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Thank
Can
you.
I just ask Haley a quick question? Haley, could you tell me how many complaints you had for our fireworks season's pretty well over. So what was the year like for fireworks?
For fireworks, let me just try and pull up my tracker here. Off the top of my head, I think we had maybe 3 all year, all summer for fireworks. But I can double check that really quickly.
Yeah, there's a move afoot to try and kill them.
Yeah, 5.
5.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, then we got Carl and Haley on designated snowmobile parking draft bylaw. Is that this outstanding item that we're talking about?
Oh, sorry, we already dealt with that with Andy in the, so we can move on to the draft bylaw enforcement policy now.
Oh, yes, sorry. Where is that one? Yeah, the draft bylaw enforcement policy. So yeah, we've drawn up a draft. Mostly we pulled from some other nearby municipalities. Abby went through and kind of aligned it more to Dysart, and then I went through and streamlined it a bit more. So this is our draft policy, mostly complaint intake and follow-up policy, and just kind of defining regular terms that we use. just to make sure that everybody's kind of on the same page as to what our method and policy is. I don't know if anybody has any questions or if we want amendments to it.
Everybody,
Murray, I got a question on it.
yeah.
Haley, okay, so on your last page, you got the flow chart of what takes place if they do it, they don't do it, and it comes down to no compliance with order, administration penalty and or reinspection fees. So when push comes to shove, the same as this, all the deficiency on that place on Bear Lake, or yeah, Bear Lake. If you just pay the penalty forever, it never goes away, right? So if you send a fine every month for $150 and I just pay it, and the reason I ask this is because of that boathouse and all the people on those lakes, they're going to start building boathouses next year. I can just see it because nothing. Yeah, he pays his $200 or whatever it is a month, and they're willing to pay it. They think this is a poor excuse on our end for penalizing somebody that's breaking the law.
Right. So we do still have the option to go to court, which should be included in this flow chart. I did miss that. So we still have the option to go to provincial courts and lay charges. The reinspection fees also can escalate further as the reinspection fees are $100 per officer per hour or part thereof. So with something like a boathouse, because we have to go out there and confirm it, they are paying for our officers' time. And if they're not getting back to us, we can just keep going back and checking. But I think ultimately the more convincing method would to go to provincial court against those. So those are still options.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think that flow chart would be more of a typical process. So we would start with this process where things continue, such as that boathouse. There are other tools in the toolbox that we can use to gain enforcement. They get more strict and heavier handed as they go. But again, we're limited to what the courts allow us to do with these enforcement measures as well. So yeah, this would be just the typical process for identifying these or dealing with these infractions.
Well, if we don't show some degree, then everybody's going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but we do have options to tighten down on it.
Yeah. Would it be worthwhile at all is after a certain time frame, like 6 months of the non-compliance and the fees or the charges being accumulating, then you say that now it's going to court? Like, because we have no timeline in there for that process.
Right. I think we can add that in. It's going to depend on the type of charge. Some charges, the limitation period to lay a charge is 6 months. Some of them it's a year. So basically we can put in a month short of that limitation period. We file charges if it's not in compliance. So that gives us a month to work with.
The only thing I would say is that council might want a bit of flexibility because sometimes you get some really odd cases and you might not want to be forced to go to court. If you think that it's going to resolve because something's about to happen. I can't get into specifics in open session or anything like that, but sometimes something's about to resolve and it would be a big deal to go to court if you're forced to through a policy. So I don't know if I'd make it too prescriptive.
We did include.
Lost you.
Yeah, we lost Haley, but just to follow up on that. So Haley mentioned the timeline to lay a charge, which would be definitely applicable. But there are other means as well. So we can always apply for a court order requiring them. So the court would require them to comply. Those types of things, which are still relevant after we do have our statute of limitations expires on being able to lay a charge. So there are other means of applying it through courts. We just don't like using the court system. Just it's so broken, but it is still a viable option.
What if we used an escalating fine? Meaning, it just keeps going up to the point where it's $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000. I'm just thinking of the cost.
Yeah, so we can look at that. So if we were to, let's say, lay a charge, we can look at that in our set fines process. But again, that's still in the court system. We do have a admin penalty process where it's a lesser fee, and unfortunately with the admin penalty process, it cannot be punitive in nature. It can only pay for the cost of us to enforce that measure. So we're kind of tied in that regard, but yeah, it's again, we do have several tools in our toolbox to be able to for enforcement measures, and none of them are good for every situation. So that's why we have a variety of them.
What I will say about this policy, and it's a good thing to have it, because a lot of the time staff and council get pulled into back and forth, and they ask for a policy for bylaw enforcement, and we're hoping that we can show, we're following this policy, that you're just like everyone else, right? So we get into a lot of conversations that take up a lot of time. So it's good to have a policy like this in place for sure.
Okay.
Is council okay with it as written? I think, I guess if you're going to do some sort of different fee structure, it would be through a fee bylaw. Correct, Carl?
With that fee structure too, it's likely.
Yeah, that's correct. So we do have our admin penalties bylaw that we did last year, orders and admin penalties bylaw, which council passed. So we can always look at that and revise that. If putting in see what we can do with higher fees. If it exceeds a certain period, we could definitely do something like that.
Okay, so I'll note that in the minutes, but is council okay with the policy as written?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Be it resolved that council accepts the draft municipal bylaw enforcement policy as written and further directs staff to bring forward a bylaw for adoption at the November 25th, 2025 meeting of council.
Mover and second. Barry and Nancy, all in favor? Carrie, thank you. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to Public Works. Dave and Rob. Dave should be first, I think.
Yes, good morning, council.
Morning.
We have our road maintenance status report for 2025 September. Construction, so Green Lake Road, bridge deck preparation. We have bridges and culverts, so that's under bridges also. But culverts, so culvert replacements, multiple culvert replacements on Irish Line Road. Emergency washouts, nothing to report. Brushing and tree removal, so 2025 tender for brushing, which was awarded to Yard Boys, started September 25th and that is now completed. And then we did some spot brushing on Green Lake Road also. Ditching was Irish Line Road. And then we had pothole patching and spray patching as required.
Any discussion on that? Okay, resolution then?
Be it resolved that council receives this report outlining roads maintenance activities for September 2025 as information.
Okay, mover and seconder. And Carm, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, next. From snow to municipal roads, this is the bylaw.
Good morning, Mayor. Apologies on that. I was in the on the wrong platform. Yeah, so here we have a bylaw which basically appoints our foreman, our patrolman to tow vehicles interfering with winter maintenance. It's the same bylaw that we had passed last year. And just to reiterate, it's not a power that we use often, but it is there should we need to use it.
Okay, that's good, but we need that power. We can't plow the roads. We can't do anything.
Yeah, normally education works.
Yeah, it does. Okay.
I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved that resolve the bylaw number 2025-91 being a bylaw to appoint bylaw enforcement officers for the removal of vehicles interfering with the movement of traffic or with the clearing of snow from municipal roads. Be read a first, second, and third time, pass, sign, the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, move in second. Tammy and Walt, all in favor? Carry. You. Okay, capital project update.
Yeah, a couple notables here. So on road resurfacing, the actual resurfacing is complete. We're just finishing up some drainage and base improvements in the Halbium subdivision right now. And I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be in a surplus at the end of the year on capital road resurfacing. So council will have a decision on what to do with any surplus funds we have at the end of the year. I'm guessing by November's meeting, we'll have a final tally on that for your information. The Redstone Brook Bridge replacement is underway. The bridge has been removed. They're just waiting on equipment to roll in to start sheet piling and start the reconstruction of the new bridge.
Okay. Okay. Resolution then?
Be resolved that council receive the October update on the 2025 capital projects as information.
Gary. Carm, all in favor? Carry. Okay. Auction results.
Yes. So as usual, we get pretty good results from the online auction for our surplus equipment. This year, we're going to have a net to our reserve of about $137,000. And the fees and taxes, it's about 7.5% we pay to be able to use the platform.
Okay. What did we auction off?
There's a backhoe, 2 pickups, the large 8-foot snow blower, and 2 dump trucks.
Oh, okay. How old are those dump trucks?
One is 8 years old and one is going on 10.
Okay. All right. Okay. Resolution then?
Be it resolved that council receive this report summarizing auction results of municipal surplus equipment as information.
Tammy and Pat, all in favor? Carry. Head Lake Footbridge. Are we ever going to get this thing put to bed? I don't know.
Hopefully today, yes. So I brought this back as information on the final design. This is following up on a 2024 regular meeting direction to proceed with replacement. There's some updated costs there, including the projected balances of the road's capital reserve and the parkland reserve. You can see if you move forward with this, it's likely going to wipe out your parkland reserve for anything moving forward. I do get the sense there's some uncertainty if council wants to move ahead on this project. I would suggest if you don't want to move ahead with it, we decide today to cut it off. But if we do that, then we do a structural evaluation on the bridge just to see what kind of loading it can take and whether we have to close it or find another option.
Well, Hans Walter never did call you, eh?
No.
I contacted him. I thought he'd be a good person to look at it. I don't know how you could fix it anyway when it's out in the water, but I guess you could. So what's the thinking on this now? So what's the updated cost? 500,000?
About 590.
590.
Yes.
Weak at the knees here now.
Is there anything we can do like we did at Koshlong in the temporary time? Put something over it that's could be a long-term fix or short-term fix or?
The bridges at different widths and everything, Rob. I wonder if that would work. Be a lot cheaper, I know that. Even if we bought it, like we did down in Koshlong. Is that something you could look into? See the cost of a Bailey Bridge across there? That'd all come with their own engineers. They'd engineer stamp the loads and all that stuff like they did in Koshlong.
Yeah. I mean, the bridge we're looking to replace is an arched bridge, so it's kind of out of my wheelhouse on what can and can't go on top of it. But I mean, if we want to defer this again, we can look at different options. But if it's like Koshlong wasn't meant to really be a permanent fix, right? It buys us time, but it all costs money.
It'll have its own look, like a Bailey Bridge looks. I think it looks unique, but I think would fit in my own opinion. I think would fit in the park. It's galvanized, and it would go up in a minute and it would last forever. And the river's not navigable anyway. So in terms of having an arch, I think that was just for looks and architecture, but to be honest with you, if you get a bit of snow and ice on it, it's more of a detriment if there's an arch in it. But anyway, for me, I kind of echo Carm's suggestion there about maybe going to talk to those people at the Bailey Bridge Corporation to see if there's something we could do something there. That's a good idea.
So then are we going to have it assessed to see what condition it's in?
Yeah. So during the feasibility study, they did recommend a structural evaluation on it, but we deferred that, or we didn't entertain that because we were looking to replace it. So at that time, we just felt it was money not well spent if you're going to replace it anyways.
You think that's going to cost?
I'm not sure, 10 grand maybe.
Well, it's still worth it, I think, to do it. Yeah. It's rusted out at the bottom?
Yeah, Rob and I went and looked for, like, the boards are coming up in it there in one spot. The placeholders that hold the boards in, if I remember right, Rob, they were starting to rust out pretty good.
Yeah, there's not much left.
I think it's timed out. So anyway.
So we don't need the evaluation report then?
I wouldn't suggest, other than for our own protection of our own liability.
Yeah.
To have it, to say yes, or we block it off until we get the Bailey Bridge in.
Yeah, so it is an insurance issue.
I believe so.
So let's do that. It's 10 grand, and then see where we are and see about a Bailey Bridge or whatever.
I'm optimistic a Bailey Bridge would cost 100,000 or less. It's my own opinion.
So who does, is that a firm by itself?
Well, I don't know. The Bailey Bridge is the term they used to call them. I don't know. Well, Rob, you'd know the outfit. You got the one for Coshlong. Be the same outfit.
Okay.
Rob, is $100,000 seem too low, like really low, or what do you think? Because if it's $100,000 to me, it's a no-brainer.
Oh, shoot. Yep.
No, but I'm just.
Yeah, you could be 200 too.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to go through the exercise.
Huh, sounds like a great deal.
What do we pay for the one that we did buy?
The highway bridge?
Yeah.
You're taxing my memory. I want to say 260, somewhere in there. Then the installation was over 100.
Yeah, it was nearly 400,000 time we were done, I think.
How long a bridge do we need? And what was the one we did buy?
I'm guessing this bridge is about 50 or 60 feet in the park. And I think it was a 60-footer we bought for Coshlong.
Staff can return with a report on the feasibility and cost of placing a Bailey Bridge, if you want.
Got to get that old one out of there, or we put the other one on top of it.
I don't think you're putting anything on top of what's there.
Yeah, okay, I understand.
So council wants a structural evaluation to be undertaken of the current footbridge, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got be resolved the council directs staff to return with a report on the feasibility and cost of placing a Bailey Bridge at Head Lake Park, and further direct staff that a structural evaluation will be undertaken for the current Head Lake Park footbridge.
Okay, mover and second. All in favor? Carry. Okay, thank you.
Maria, we plan to break at noon for close, so should I have a resolution here to go into closed session? Does that work for you?
Not really, but I'm going to make it work.
Okay. All right, 1 second. Okay, be it resolved that council adjourn its regular meeting it's 12:02 p.m. to discuss matters pursuant to section 239 subsection 2 of the Municipal Act as amended pertaining to a proposed acquisition of land in the Township of Guilford, which is a road allowance, proposed disposition of land in the Township of Dysart, which is Stothart Creek subdivision, labor relations or employee negotiations, public works, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, which is road assumption, road works, and potential road allowance acquisition.
Okay, mover and seconder. Pat and Carm, all in favor, carried.
Okay, thank you. September 30th, 2025.
Mover and seconder. Pat and hand up somebody. Carm, all in favor? I think I'm in kindergarten here.
September 30th, 2025.
Mover and seconder. Okay, metered sewage report, tax applications, applicants.
So that's pretty standard too, so I'll just read that. Unless council has questions.
It's just a couple of demolitions. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay. Okay.
Braden, just so you know, we can't hear you very well. I don't know if the mic needs to be.
Oh, it needs turned on, I think.
Oh, I think I got it on here.
No, it's on. It's just you can't be too far away from it. But I think you just said it's just a couple of demolitions, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Perfect. So be it resolved that council authorizes tax adjustments for applications made under section 357 of the Municipal Act as amended as follows. Municipal portion, $698.05. County portion, $532.66. And education portion, $303.26.
Mover and seconder. Carmen, Tammy, all in favor? Carried. Okay, Bracebridge Generation. This is this charge up your electric car.
Yeah, so that's for the Ivy station. So this is the lease the council approved at the last, at the last meeting they came as delegate. So this is just the lease agreement now.
Okay.
Any questions?
Well, no, I guess they said they're going to do what they said they were going to do.
Yeah, so if they secure that funding, then the charging stations will go at the municipal parking lot as they discussed.
Okay.
So I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-100, being a bylaw to authorize the lease agreement with Bracebridge Generation Limited, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, mover and seconder. Tammy and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay, next. External auditing service.
Yeah, I can speak to that one a bit. So our current audit contract expired once the 2024 audit was completed. So we put an RFP out. We only had the one bid. Our incumbent auditor didn't bid. So we just had the one from Baker Tilly. It's there for award. I've worked with that firm in the past. I've had good experience, so we're recommending to take
Were
it.
they competitive compared to what we paid last year?
Yeah, it's $500 different.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions there? Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that RFP 2025-FIN-16 for external auditing services be awarded to Baker Tilly KDN LLP, and further that bylaw 2025-101, being a bylaw to appoint auditors, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, mover and seconder. Nancy and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay, next is borrowing for a backhoe loader and loader mounted snow blower. Okay. How much is all that? What's the borrowing amount, do we know?
So we're borrowing $516,052. They're indicating 4.1%, but we're expecting the rate might get cut tomorrow, so it might come down a little bit. But
And that's for both?
for both combined, yeah.
Okay. I thought we'd have had money for that, but I guess not. Okay, resolution then?
Be it resolved that council approves the borrowing of funds from the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce for the purchase of a backhoe loader and loader mounted snow blower. And further that bylaw 2025-102 being a bylaw to authorize the borrowing of money made in connection with the purchase of a backhoe loader and loader mounted snow blower be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Is that loan open or is it closed for a year or 2 years? Or
It's 10 years non-repayable.
yeah, because we have quite a good surplus in roads, and I thought we might as well put it right there if we could.
The cash flow is going to be tight this year with what's coming next on the bridge and a fire truck coming early in 2026. It's going to be a bit tight.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Not borrow it from ourselves.
Pardon?
Can we not borrow it from ourselves? Because we've done that before.
Yeah, well, we can. What's the rate? We don't know. I think it's going down.
About 4. It'd be about 4.
4.
Yeah.
Well, that's just about the rate, I think.
Instead of that's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
not really bad.
So we want to go ahead with this then?
Well,
Yeah, good. Okay.
So I just need a mover and seconder because I've read the resolution.
Tammy and Nancy, okay? Sure. Okay. Name of all the bridge, Redstone.
Idea. So that one there, I think when I last talked to Rob, they said it was scheduled to be completed by the end of this year. So we're going through Infrastructure Ontario.
Right.
It was set as a 30-year note in the budget, so that's what I've requested. I've asked for 1.7, but once they're done construction and engineering, then whatever that final dollar is, that's what we'll venture out.
Well, we won't know that till a while, yeah.
Until the new year, probably.
Okay. Resolution.
Be it resolved that council approves the borrowing of funds from Infrastructure Ontario for the replacement of the Redstone Brook Bridge, and further that bylaw 2025-103, being a bylaw to authorize certain new capital works of the corporation of the townships of Dysart et al. To authorize the submission of application to the Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation for the financing of such capital works, to authorize temporary borrowing from the Ontario Infrastructure Lands Corporation to meet expenditures in connection with such capital works, and to authorize long-term borrowing for such capital works through the issue of debentures, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, move in second. Gary and Pat, all in favor? Gary, thank you. Okay, thank you, Brandon. Okay, administration.
All right, so the first one is just bylaw to appoint Tamara as acting clerk for whenever I have to go on mat leave. So it will just take effect when I leave. So that's all that is. Any questions on that?
I don't know whether she can do that job or not.
Let's hope.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Hope. Okay, resolution.
Okay, be it resolved that bylaw 2025-90 being a bylaw to appoint an acting clerk for the corporation of the United Townships of Dysart et al., Tamara Wilby, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, mover and seconder, Tammy and Nancy, all in favor? Gary, thank you. Appointing.
So the next thing is just the committee meeting schedule for 2026. The reason I included this as a report is because it's an election year. So there's some weird considerations in an election year. First of all, the last meeting of this current council term will be on the 13th of October, which is obviously earlier than we usually have a meeting. Election day is October 26th. So the new term commences on November 15th, but they technically aren't in power until they do their inaugural meeting where they swear their oath, and that will take place on Tuesday, November 17th of next year. Another thing is committee meetings. They kind of freeze. They freeze after the August committee meetings. So this is our Glebe Park and Cultural Resources. And they don't start up again until February 2027. That gives time for for the new council to establish how they're going to run, and staff to establish who's going to fill the public appointee positions, because they're appointed for the term of council. So I've attached the schedule for council's information, and let me know if you have any questions.
Questions? Well, we can adjust them, I guess, if things go.
Yep.
I was honest. Okay, resolution then.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the 2026 council and committee meeting schedule as information.
Mover and second. Carm and Pam, all in favor? Carry. Okay. Appointment to the land division.
Yes, so as per usual, we have Pat Kennedy as the appointment, and then Murray, we have you as the alternate. Is that okay?
I did say he enjoys that, so.
Okay, perfect. So I'll read it. Be it resolved that council recommends the appointment of Patrick Kennedy to the County of Haliburton Land Division Committee for 2026, with Mayor Murray Ferry appointed as the alternate.
I'm happy to give that away, but I haven't had to go for 2 years, so it's okay. Okay, all in favor?
I
Do you
just-
have a mover and seconder?
No, not yet on that one.
Oh, we're going to get one right here shortly. Gary and Carm, thank you. Okay. Appointment of lame duck. I thought we were in that this morning for a while.
Yeah, so this is just a background report on lame duck. So it's a little bit earlier, but I wanted to get it. Basically, our bylaw doesn't take effect unless we go into lame duck. So I just wanted to get it wrapped up before I left. So lame duck, there's a lot of people who have been on council for a while, so they know what lame duck is. But basically, if less than 70% of you are returning for re-election, or if less than 75% of you are re-elected after council day, they have to restrict council's power. They do this in case a rogue councillor is not coming back and they want to make a bunch of weird decisions before they leave. That's the reason for this sort of legislation. So it's likely, it usually happens that we go into lame duck after nomination day. Nomination day this year is August 21st. And then it kind of runs until the new term comes in. So what most municipalities do is that they appoint senior staff to have the powers that have been taken away from them in that time period. So 4 restrictions are the appointment or removal an officer of the municipality, hiring or dismissing any employee, the disposition of property exceeding 50 grand, and making any expenditures that are over 50 grand. So to minimize that impact, we have a bylaw that we'll prepare that will appoint the CAO and treasurer, the delegated authority, so the municipality can continue to run if we go into lame duck.
Okay. Resolution then?
Yep. Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the staff report regarding restricted acts after nomination day, and further that council supports the recommendation to delegate its powers under section 275, subsection 3 of the Municipal Act to the chief administrative officer and treasurer, and directs that a bylaw be brought forward for consideration.
Okay, mover and second. Gary and Tam and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you very much. Now we gotta have Jeff and Chris here.
Yes, thank you. I'll take this one. So this is for Abbey Gardens D14 ZB 2025-013. The application was first considered by council at its meeting on September 23rd, 2025. At that time, council approved bylaw 2025-84 and directed that prior to any development occurring on the subject property, the registered owner enter into a site plan agreement to ensure that all development undertaken in accordance with the applicable environmental assessment. The updated bylaw 2025, which is being heard today, is being brought forward to correct clerical error and does not alter the intent or effect of the zoning bylaw 2025-84, which was approved by council on the 23rd of September. The amendment serves only to clarify wording, to clarify the wording of the original bylaw that more aligns with the intent of that bylaw. Specifically, the update removes reference to the 120-meter wetland buffer setback previously established under bylaw 2014-2022. This provision is no longer applicable as the environmental assessment has accurately delineated the wetland boundary and associated buffer area, which is reflected on the Schedule A of bylaw 2025-92. Sorry, 2025-84 that was passed by council. So essentially, this is just correcting a clerical error. There is no changes to the wetland boundary, and it's just removing the wording of the 120 meters as the wetland was more established through the environmental assessment. So it's just clarifying that.
Okay.
And staff recommend approval of this bylaw.
Thanks, Chris. I figured that. Okay. Resolution.
Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-92, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2005-120 for the lands of Abbey Gardens Community Trust, which consists of part lot 4, concession 3 in the geographic township of Guilford, municipality of Dysart et al., which would change the zone of the subject property from rural residential -13 exception zone and environmental protection zone to rural residential -13 exception zone environmental protection zone. Be read a first, second, and third time, pass, sign, the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay. Mover and seconder. Barry and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay, next.
Yeah, the next one is for bylaw 2025-93. This was for the application for public meeting this morning for the West Guilford property. And the recommendation from council was to approve the application subject to the holding provision.
Yeah, for the, okay.
I'll read that. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-93, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2005-120 withholding provisions for the lands of 5029636 Ontario Incorporated, which consists of part lot 6, concession 4, part 9, plan 19R-5229 in the geographic township of Guilford, municipality of Dysart et al., which would change the zone on the subject property from highway commercial zone to highway commercial -39 exception zone, be read a first, second, and third time, pass, sign, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, moving second. Walt and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next.
Next is for bylaw 2025-94 for the lands of Hutchings. And this was just as a result of severance and just doing the zoning for the applicable rural residential and rural type 1 use. So, and recommendation was to approve the application.
They had that this morning. Okay.
Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-94, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2005-120 for the lands of Hutchings, which consists of part lot 19, concession 5 in the geographic township of Dysart, municipality of Dysart et al., which would change the zone on the subject property from rural type 1-18 exception zone, rural residential -24 exemption zone, and environmental protection zone, be read a first, second, third time, pass, sign, the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, mover and second. Tammy and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next.
Yes, this one is for bylaw 2025-95. This was for the Halliburton Lumber and Enterprises, and this was for the day nursery. No comments or concerns other than from the county and discussion this morning. Therefore, council recommended approval subject to the holding provisions.
Okay. Resolution.
1 sec. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-95, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2005-120 for the lands of Halliburton Lumber and Enterprise, 1587256 Ontario Incorporated, which consists of part lots 12 and 13, concession 8 in the geographic township of Dysart, municipality of Dysart et al., which would change the zone on the subject property from highway commercial zone to highway commercial -38 exception zone, withholding provisions. Is it -38 again, Chris?
Should be 38.
Oh, it is 38. The other one was 39. Sorry. Exception zone withholding provisions in order to permit a day nursery. Be read a first, second, third time. Pass, sign, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay. Mover and seconder. Barry and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, next.
Yeah, 10E. So this is a deeming bylaw application from Mr. Bellum, who owns 2 adjacent lots on Halliburton Lake Road. He would like to merge those lots into one lot for development purposes. Staff have no concerns and recommend the bylaw.
Okay. Resolution?
Be resolved that bylaw 2025-96, which is a bylaw to deem lots 55 and 56 registered plan 348 in the geographic township of Harburn, not with it to be within plan of subdivision for the purpose of section 50, subsection 3 of the Planning Act, be read a first, second, third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto. This bylaw is intended to allow lot 55 on plan 348 to merge with lot 56 on plan 348, so they can be used as one lot for development purposes.
Okay, mover and second. Okay, Barry and Tammy, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, next.
Yeah, bylaw 2025-97 is a road closing bylaw. It's in front of the lands of Lewis on Drag Lake. No issues here, subject to council direction. Staff recommend approval of the bylaw.
We saw that before too. Resolution?
Be resolved that bylaw 2025-97, being a bylaw to stop up, close, and convey part of the original shore road allowance in front of lot 3, concession 6 in the geographic township of Dudley, be read a first, second, third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, mover and seconder. Nancy and Walt, all in favor? Carried. Drago Lake.
Yeah, it's another road closing bylaw in front of the lease holdings of Corrigan on Straggle Lake and Harcourt Park. We did receive comments from the County of Halliburton, which were a bit unique because they shared that their records indicated that the shore road allowance had already been closed and conveyed to the applicants. We've discussed this with them. They rely on GIS mapping to provide those comments, which in our opinion is not accurate. We have no record of a bylaw being passed for this shore road allowance. In addition, the survey, which is prepared by an Ontario land surveyor, would typically provide a PIN if that shore road allowance had already been closed and conveyed. So our records seem to indicate that it's not closed and conveyed. So subject to council direction, staff recommend approval of this bylaw.
Okay. Resolution?
Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-98, being a bylaw to stop up, close, and convey part of the original shore road allowance in front of lot 10, concession 6 in the geographic township of Harcourt, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, mover and seconder. Pat and Barry, all in favor? Carried. Indian Point Road.
Yeah, so this item is a joint application to purchase an original road allowance between 2 properties on Drag Lake. Their reasoning is that they would like more privacy on their properties and to increase the size of their respective lots. And this is an original road allowance that leads to water. Section 3.2.7 of the official plan gives council direction for closing and conveying these types of road allowances, which it discourages. So based on that section of the official plan, staff recommend that council deny this request. There is a second resolution included. As per the report, there are some encroachment and compliance issues on each lot, and staff are recommending that the bylaw enforcement department follow up on those. So subject to any council questions about this application, staff recommend that this application be denied.
They've opened up a can of worms, in other words. Okay. Resolution then.
Be resolved that council deny the request by O'Halloran, Nightingale, and Stathopoulos. Sorry if I said that wrong. Application L07-RO-2025-16 to purchase a portion of the original road allowance on Drag Lake between lots 1, concession 7 in the geographic township of Dunley, and lot 34, concession 7 in the geographic township of Dysart. And further, that council directs that the bylaw enforcement department review the possible encroachment of the driveway, landscaping, and dock located at 1925 Indian Point Road and the deck / dwelling at 1921 Indian Point Road.
Okay, mover and seconder. Nancy and Carm. All in favor? Carried. Okay,
The next one is a numbered company. They have submitted an application to purchase their shore road allowance in front of their property on Elephant Lake. This property is currently vacant, and staff have no concerns. Subject to any council questions, staff recommend or request permission to process the application.
resolution?
Be it resolved that council approves for processing application L07-RO-2025-18 by 1945849 Ontario Incorporated to purchase a portion of the shore road allowance along the shore of Elephant Lake in front of Lot 28 Concession 7 in the geographic township of Harcourt. These lands are declared surplus.
Okay, mover and seconder, Tammy and Nancy. All in favor? Carried. Yeah. Okay,
So this item is an update to the procedural bylaw for the Committee of Adjustment. As per council direction, the bylaw updates the procedural bylaw to clarify that the chair of the committee be a member of council. And staff, subject to any questions, staff recommend approval of this bylaw.
any questions? Okay, resolution?
Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-99, being a bylaw to govern the calling, place, and proceedings of the meeting for the Committee of Adjustment, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto. Bylaw 2025-99 will rescind bylaw 2020-69.
Okay. Mover and seconder. Barry, all in favor? Carried. Okay, this next one will breeze right through. Okay.
Yeah, it shouldn't take too long. This is the official plan amendment for structures within the minimum setback area. So following the open house, council directed staff to make certain changes to the draft official plan and draft zoning bylaw. So those staff have finished those updates and seek direction to go to a public meeting. So if council agrees with the draft policies as noted in the attachments to the report, then that would be the next step, is to go to a public meeting. If you'd like me to summarize those changes, just to recap them for you, I can. Other than that, unless you have any questions, I just request direction to proceed.
Yeah, well, we did have them to look at, so. Everybody okay with them? To go to a public meeting with them? Okay, yeah, resolution. Huh?
Be it resolved,
One quick question. Where in here about the grade?
The 12%.
Yeah, or whatever the grade is. I mean, that's all, this is all really good. But the grade might be like they can't meet those setbacks because of the grade. So is there somewhere in here that if the grade's fine, these are all okay, but if the grade's not fine, like too steep, then it's still a possibility? Well, I know we had discussed it before, but I just want to make sure that it's in here.
And I don't recall that direction. So are you suggesting like on steep lots, if they can't meet these setbacks, then there should be reduced setbacks permitted?
Yes, if the grade is not possible to meet the setback, so let's say the outdoor sauna is 10 meters, but the grade is like 50% grade, but they do have a flat spot closer, that would be possible.
Same thing as Percy Lake.
Yeah. Well, there's quite a few, but there just should be a spot there that if for the grade reason that can't be met, the minimums, then it's still possible that they could have something.
So Marie, just to clarify what Tammy's saying is, do we not get a lot of pushback on saunas at the lake? So we might not be able to put saunas if the grade's too small, but maybe possibly just a shed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care. I'm just trying to clear. I thought we had a lot of pushback about saunas. So if we say we put a sauna at the lake, it's not going to fly. We're going to get a lot of pushback. So, but maybe a shed they might live with, I don't know.
I don't know either. So,
So
So the proposed policy has a gazebo at 0 meters, a shed at 5 meters, and a sauna at 10 meters.
10, yeah.
I don't recall direction to include policies for, like, if there are constraints such as topography, people can always apply for an amendment or exceptions to the policy instead of having a blanket policy. You could look at it lot by lot. But if that's something council wants me to go back to the drawing board on, I can.
And sorry to interrupt, I think some of that too was that I think the conversation started at the beginning that if it was over a certain percentage, then that's where you would be permitted to have similar to like the Percy's and stuff like that. So yeah, as Jeff mentioned, if that's something that needs to be added in, then we definitely have to look at that.
but you could go to the Committee of Adjustment, right?
Well, I don't know if you could go to the Committee of Adjustment, you'd have to come to council.
Oh, you're coming to council, okay.
Which takes more time.
Well, that's an option anyway. Okay. Okay,
Do you want to test it the way it's written at a public meeting?
yeah.
Okay. Be resolved that council accepts the proposed amendments to the official plan and zoning bylaw regarding structures in the minimum water setback as written and directs staff to proceed to a public meeting.
Okay, mover and second. Pat and Barry, all in favor? Carry. Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, Harcourt, Community Hall,
There's nothing to report.
no. West Guilford,
Now, we had a meeting last night, Murray, nothing important.
nothing. Rails End, we heard that today, didn't we?
You heard that today, and there's a couple new members, and they've always got lots of activities.
Okay, so resolution on that then?
Be resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the October 2025 Rails End Gallery and Arts Center report.
Okay, mover and seconder, Nancy and Pat, all in favor? Carry. Okay, BIA, Pat,
Murray BIA meets tomorrow night, so I'll have something to report next meeting, and Harvest Halliburton meeting it's coming up as well, so I have nothing to report.
boy,
both of
you're,
them, but
you're really going gung.
Lots to come back with.
Yep, there you go. Kawartha Halliburton Source Protection, Walt. Upper Trent, Tammy,
No, nothing.
okay. I guess we're up to, I can hardly believe it. Yeah, the confirming bylaw.
Okay. Be resolved that bylaw 2025-104, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular council meeting held on October 28, 2025, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Mover and seconder. Pat and Walt, all in favor? Carried. I hate to say it, but the adjournment's there now.
All right. It is. So be resolved that council adjourn its regular meeting held on October 28, 2025 at 1:47 p.m.
Mover and seconder. Walt and Nancy. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.